Alright, welcome back, Pokemon Go players, to another episode of the Purified podcast. Today is May 21st, 2023. I am your host, Luis Palacios, with my co-host, Chris.
Hey, it's your boy, Pokemon Trigger Please. We're back at it again with another episode of the Purified podcast. Couldn't be happier. And yeah, it's a pretty exciting week, honestly, for Pokemon Go. There's a lot of really cool things happening.
Yeah, we got like a lot of news. This week is probably gonna be like second to none to what we're actually hoping is gonna happen. And then plus we have probably the dump of news next week too. So I mean, like, we're gonna be jam set for next week for sure. Kiki, thank you for joining us today on the chat. Once again, we are here to talk about Pokemon Go news, updates, and ranting about the game because we love the game just as much as everybody else. Don't forget that we are part of the Professor Network. Check us out, professornetwork.com/Purified Podcast. I know the camera angles is all weird out today, but that's because of a few things. We'll talk about that in a second. Wonderful people to work with every single time, so make sure that you check them out. Thank you so much for always being there. So yeah. With that being said, there's also going to be a guest tonight, but we'll introduce him. Actually, the titles you actually can already tell, but we'll introduce him a little bit later in the podcast. He is running a little bit late, mostly because he's of course playing Pokemon 2.
He's clapping.
He's clapping. I don't want to continue that sentence. But yeah, we're going to introduce our guest later on in the show today. I wanted to start the podcast because at the same time we have a lot to cover, and if we wait just a little bit longer or another time longer, we're gonna be running behind, and I want to get some sleep tonight, brother. So, but yeah, I guess we should start recapping, our last week of gameplay, our last things that we did, shiny Huntos, PvP months. Chris has an amazing story to tell. Go ahead, Chris.
Today was pretty eventful, but let's start from the beginning. It was actually pretty exciting. I want to say it started here. Let me just double check. I believe it actually starts with my Hundo Sandshrew, which when I checked, I don't remember if I talked about it already, but I checked and yeah, it's my first Cantonian Sandshrew. I know I had two of the Alolan. And for my birthday, I was really hoping to get a shiny Tapu Fini.
Happy
but that
birthday!
Thing just would not show up.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, nah.
We
all good. Another year older. But I did trade a shiny with one of our locals, and I got a shiny 98 Stunfisk, 15, 14, 15. So I'm very excited about that. That was probably where all my birthday luck went.
There you go.
And then the next day, I did an adventure incense, and I got not one but two shinies out of one incense. I was like, okay, I'll take it. Teddy Ursa and Onyx. I did get my shiny Jirachi just a tiny bit before Pure Letter. He's in the final stretch right now.
Finally!
And it's actually got pretty good PvP IVs. It's better than my regular one.
Okay.
It's 11, 12, 13. It kind of looks like stairs, just for those curious. I want to say I got... after that, it's all the shiny Comday stuff. So let me just double check. I know I got at least 30. Yeah, I got 30. So very exciting with that.
Jesus.
One of those, one of those being a...
Yeah, you popped up then.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, whenever I'm short on storage. One of those being an extra large shiny, which I just evolved to have, but I'm probably going to try trading that for something. I got a pretty good PvP Quillfish, and Pure Letter and I found not one but two Hundo Fennekin's. We got the first one, we ran for it. The second one, Pure Letter's checking, and he's like, oh my gosh, I got a Hundo. It's right under us. And I'm like, wait, what? A Hundo? Let me see if I got it. I was eating a pizza that somebody gave me for free. right?
That was the most random
like,
thing in the world. It's like somebody was just like, "Yeah, I ordered too much. Do you want this pizza?" It's like,
I didn't
I said
poison it, I
no, but
promise.
I don't know. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'll take it, I guess. I wasn't worried until you said something.
That's
But
lunch.
yeah, good pizza. But because of that, I was running the Go Plus, and wouldn't you know it, I checked the journal. I see the CP that Pure Letter got for the Hundo. It was a Shundo that ran. I was screaming. Oh, yeah. Play the funeral music.
Jesus,
Uh,
man.
at least it was Fennekin and not like
Froakie.
something crazy relevant. But yeah, that's another Shundo I could have had. So
Oh my goodness.
disappointing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have actually gotten to the point where I also missed a Shundo, not because of my inability to catch it, my inability of my Gold Plus literally being the biggest butthole. And,
It's like,
I
let
don't
me
know.
throw the ball over here.
I don't remember if I actually told the story, but I actually lost a Shundo in Go Tour, actually in Las Vegas. It was a Lillipep, and people were saying, "Oh, it's a Hundo here." I was like, "Okay," but I was running my Go Plus. It was hot, and cold, and everything in between.
Charging the phone,
and I think we were charging the phone, and I decided to check my journal, and I see the Lillipep that everybody's talking about. I'm like, "Oh no, it was a Shundo too. That could have also had a Shundo." The things that we do to
the things we endure.
I know, especially when we're running like we're running the casual Go Plus just for no reason at all. But it's like I was trying to catch everything at the time, so it was a little bit harder to get. But again, it's just those moments where you stop, but you can still catch with the Go Plus, and it's just. And Chris also mentioned is like if he wouldn't have been eating the pizza, he would have actually gotten the Shundo. He would have been clicking on them and everything. So. And I think it was a Lord spawn too, so because it was, I thought it was actually from my ancestors for one point, but everybody got it also in the Gold Plus, like at least the ones that did get it, So
it was there, but yeah, I don't know where exactly it spawned.
yeah, definitely. So that's a crazy haul and a sad story regardless. So as for me, I did get the 2 Hundo Fennekins, the one that I did catch from them over 1,200 extra large candy with transfers because I did transfer everything as soon as I was able to.
1,200
extra large, yes. And that's the thing. I mean, the mega boost, bro, it's just insane. Like you just mega boost
It's
something
no
to
joke, yeah.
at level 3, and you're just like going ham. You just catch everything. So it's actually kind of nice. Just like Chris mentioned, I am in the last step of the Jirachi research. So by next week, I should have my shiny Jirachi after all this time. It took a while, but that's because the Keklins were not easy to get. So, and then as for shinies, if I call it shiny and not shabby, I did get another shiny Pidove normally from
what?
before. Yeah, I know. It's just it just keeps spawning for me.
3?
Yeah, I did try for a shiny Riola with a friend of mine, my roommate, and I believe I got 23 or 24 shiny Fennekins. Let me just check here because I know that I can count. 23. I did actually do a 4-star raid with my roommate and a couple of people from the community after we left part of ways that day, or today, I guess. And then I was just clicking on things, catching things, and then I get another shiny. So I got the 23, traded one with my friend, and stayed at 23. So I'll be transferring some to home. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping them all depending on how it goes, but I know some people will still want it, here and there. It is a beautiful kind of shiny. The evolution actually is even better. So let me see if I can find one that's actually pretty good to evolve. Because its second evolution, it's like, I want to say his purple color, it's a lot better than you expect it to be. Let me see. Also, I have this sniffle somehow. I don't know why.
You're welcome.
I know, right? But yeah, so that's that. Let me just make sure you guys are aware. I'm also trying to get everybody situated. There's the shiny. Woohoo! Like I said, I do love the shiny. It's a really beautiful pure shiny, the second evolution. And then Darkbex, it's actually pretty good too, though. So, thank you for joining us, my hair. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
think they got the best line out of all of them.
yeah, definitely. Even Froakie. Froakie, I mean, his first two evolutions are meh, but his final one is like amazing, you know. So it's one of those things the other day. But yeah, we had a fun. Also, the Battle of the Zero event actually ended a little bit before after we recorded. So from the last podcast, I want to say, okay, so let's now that we're like right there, and before we actually talk in the news, because I know that we have a lot really to be excited about pretty soon. Before we actually get there, let's talk about like the Rising Heroes three most important parts of the Rising Heroes, which were the team leaders, special events for each one of them with their custom Pokemons and everything. Based on all of this, what are your really feelings about the three events for each one of the leaders? Like, what they're okay, mediocre, meh, or amazing? I don't know. I mean, that'd be incredible if you get that.
If anything, it didn't feel like it was like a building
Story
kind
arc.
of event. It felt like a bridge, kind of like the filler of an anime, you know?
Yeah, no,
Uh,
actually, that makes a lot of sense now.
yeah. Like it was there. It was fine. It's better than the average gameplay, but yeah, it wasn't uh any crazy events going on really. Like there was some cool things, oh, I really hope I get a shiny costume Pokemon from one of the leaders. That'd be cool. But, other than that, there wasn't like anything crazy to get you out of the house and, hunting and playing. It's just kind of playing like the average amount, I would say.
Yeah, like I said, it just like you said, I feel like it wasn't consistent, or it wasn't like a rising lore when it comes to it. There was a little bit like information from the leaders every time you talk to them, but who really reads the the lore from it? It's like,
Yeah, catch a little bit of words here and there.
yeah, it feels a little like sad that all we do is just look at words from them, and even like special research or even time research, we're not even looking at them most of the time. We're just trying to finish it so we have it our completed and all that. So I wish there was a little more like, I don't know, like a boom effect to the events. I felt like it wasn't too much. Like the Valor's event at least gave us a little bit of extras. So it gave us the extra raid pass, and I believe there was another change to the event exactly that happened at the start of the event, but I can't remember right now.
Yeah, the double from Rockets.
Oh
The
yeah,
double
double
whatever they're called.
components. Yeah. So it felt like it wasn't enough. I want to say that all three of the events were at least in the May category. Given a rating maybe 5, 4 at best, because it just didn't really give it that feeling that we needed to play them. And I think a lot of people are actually saying, okay, so yes, this season of Rising Heroes, as cool as it's been, the whole mechanic of saying like we're the heroes, we're trying to save things, has not actually panned out.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying it didn't feel like they were the hero, even though
Yeah.
people were saying
And
they're the hero.
I think the problem also was because of all the controversy that's been happening in Pokemon Go lately. Like this season happened to be just a eat at the community kind of season, just because everybody was just like praying and prying and everything through it. So if could have been better if they allow us to do, or they kept some of the changes until later, but they had to rip the bandage eventually. So one of the seasons was going to suffer regardless. So I guess this one is probably the best, because in the end of the day, it wasn't as impactful as it is, and hopefully the summer is gonna be like insane from here on out. So, which it looks like to be. It looks like to be. So we'll see how it goes in there. So yeah, like that was the only recap that I has. By the time we actually have the next podcast, we'll be at the end of the Rising Heroes event, or I'm sorry, the season, and we'll have more news about the next season of events. And of course, all the things that are happening since Golf is happening next season in the summer. So that's going to be insanely cool. That said, I guess we should start talking into the research topics of today. We got a bunch of news to cover, a bunch of excitement happening. Very first thing to talk about, Chris, what is it?
I am blind. There we are. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've been waiting. It's been how many years? 7 years?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's
I
been
mean, like,
in the code for like forever too.
yeah, we've been waiting and waiting, and asking, thinking there was some kind of hidden thing that people weren't finding. But the Master Ball is finally coming to Pokemon Go. You can finally catch a Pidgey without fail. Very exciting.
It's time to catch those, like impossible, god Pokemons, the Bidoof. It's like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, there's a Hundo Bidoof. Oh, I can't have it running on me.
gee.
Oh no. But yeah, very exciting. For those of you that don't know, it is the Pokeball with the best performance. What do we mean by that? Well, it catches any Pokemon without fail. That can be from a lure module, a raid battle, or Pokemon that you have during your daily adventure instance. And I think they specifically said that for a reason because they know what people are going to want to use it on,
Right.
in my
And
opinion.
yeah, and that's the thing that we really want to talk about. So, how are you going to be obtaining this Master Ball is the key. Throughout Season 10 Racing Heroes, free special research will be available. The final story will begin on May 22nd, which is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Willow's back with more news on Tico Rocket's latest plans and a gift, which is the Master Ball, of course. You'll be able to claim the special research until the end of Season 10. So, you have technically, 11 days, 10 days, or whatever is left on the season in your list to actually claim this special research to get at least one Master Ball. Receive a rare Paso Master Ball, just like I said. Think otherwise on how you use it. Really look out for future opportunities for in Pokemon Go to acquire more. So it's not going to be the only one we're gonna have.
Okay, thank goodness.
But doesn't mean that it's still not going to be as rare as anything. Just like Cosmo, not appearing in Pokemon Go for almost a year now. So we're definitely not going to see the return of a Master Ball probably for maybe another good year, 6 months, however it may be. But it's going to be a while before we actually obtain it. So the requirements to keep it is going to be interesting. Now, of course, a lot of people say, throw it out to a Magikarp and you'll be fine and you'll be able to catch it and everything, That's not the case. At least in my opinion, I feel like the Master Ball should be used for something extremely, extremely rare. Be it a legendary roaming, roaming legendary, a Galarian Burr, which, that's why they included the daily adventure instance in the blog post. A Shando that you don't want it to run away, that is super, super rare.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like you think that the Master Ball, will be possible. A lot of people are saying there might be one per season. I don't believe that that's going to be the case. I believe it's going to be something a lot longer. Now, I do want to say one thing, and a lot of people also are speculating on this. It's a possibility by the time we actually get the Master Ball that maybe the shiny Galarian birds are going to be a thing. It's possible, just because of how it looks. But the thing is, even if you get a Galarian bird, yeah, getting to throw a Master Ball at it seems like the greatest case just because of the catch rate being insanely low and the fleet rate being insanely high. But it's not going to be the rarest later. Just like we have seen in Pokemon Go history, once something is rare for the very first bit of its lifespan, it's going to come out in abundance in later. Mewtwo was rare for the EX raids, and then it became regular raids future later. I know mythical Pokemons really don't count, but in the end of the day, there are some that they are only rare in itself. Still, that's the mechanics, and you also have to think, if you use the Master Ball, like let's say on a Shando, on a legendary raid, you want to catch it, but we know that because it's a shiny from a raid, you're gonna catch it regardless. So there's no difference there. There's no point of using your Master Ball just because you see that it's a Shando or something like that.
There is a possible change in that in some future news, but that's just speculation because I haven't seen any of the news. You probably have them.
There have been some miners out there that actually said that the catch rate has changed a lot. So thank you, Ferna. But that's what a lot of people are saying that it could happen. I don't believe it. For a lot of different reasons, it's better to just keep it at bay. But again, I'm still trying to really grasp the idea of using the Master Ball on something that eventually will be able to be catchable in the future. It's like it doesn't seem that a lot of things in Pokemon Go will be fully rare at the course of it, just for the reason that we're gonna have it eventually. So there has to be a super big moment for you to actually use the Master Ball, and that's where I'm trumped on, because Pokemon Go doesn't feel like it needs it. It's cool to have it. So
Yeah. I feel like it like deserves to have a Master Ball. It feels like it took forever though.
Yeah.
But I am finally glad that they added it. The only thing is it has to be elusive enough that it doesn't feel like you're just guaranteed to catch everything,
Yeah.
like that you absolutely want to catch. Because don't get me wrong, that'd be great, but Pokemon need to be rare, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that just makes the game more exciting, in my opinion. Plus, they could always change things, like how the shiny legendary beast couldn't run during the Johto event,
Yeah.
and in a few events like that for the Galarian birds. So keep that in mind before just tossing a Master Ball at them. I would check to make sure they're not going to run if they add those anytime soon. We don't know.
That's the biggest.
They do.
That's another tinfoil hat theory out there.
Yeah,
that
just be mindful.
Yeah, and at the same time, it does feel like they're going to add something that's going to be as rare as it is, and when you actually finally get it, it's gonna be one of those things that you want. Hold on. Thank you. I think you all heard that anyway. So.
It's quiet. At least at the moment, I feel like the Galarian birds are at the top of my list for things to throw the Master Ball at.
Yes. Now, I'm not gonna say you don't do it if you don't want to. If you wanna actually catch a Galarian bird that you've been literally trying to hunt for almost a year at this point, then yeah, go ahead and use the Master Ball. That's fine. You'll get another one eventually. But I just feel like it's not just the case. I feel like the thrill of actually being able to catch the Galarian birds, or even to have the chance of catching one, it's amazing. Now, of course, I talk to experience. I do have one Galarian bird, so
got 0. I've seen them like 12 times.
and I know a lot of people out there. They're like, I need to have it. I need to get it. I need to get one. A lot of the content creators out there, they still don't have one because of how catching goes, but. Yeah, I feel like the thrill of the hunt is part of it. And that's the good thing about the Pokemon Go, that you actually have the chances of that. Master Ball just makes it just 1%, not even percentage, like 0.5% easier to be able to do things in the end of the day, because it's a guaranteed cash no matter what anyways. So, but yeah, that's the Master Ball. It's finally coming to Pokemon Go 20,000 years later. But yeah, so it's time to move on to the biggest piece of news that we have today.
Bigger than the Master Ball?
Bigger than the Master Ball.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You all know it was coming. It was inevitable. But here it is. Shadow raids are coming to Pokemon Go. Now, what are shadow raids? Well, let's watch a little video first before we get that. Let me actually take away our camera here. And because I really do love this video that they have. So... And if it's too loud, let me know, but still. That it is.
Bro's got the Ben 10 watch.
I know, right? That's a legendary egg. I love that close-up of the leaders too,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. When I saw Mewtwo there, I was just like... I can't. I was so hype at work. It was crazy. So yes, Shadow raids are coming to Pokemon Go on Monday, May 22nd, face of Shadow Mewtwo, and May 27th and 28th. So yes, we are actually going to be talking about this. Let me go ahead and make sure that we are back here. There you go. Shadow raids. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I mean, in the end of the day, raids are like the biggest thing in Pokemon Go. It's what really makes a lot of the content in there. But that's it. That's really the thing. Tingle Rocket is back, and they're up to something big trouble once again. In their newest scheme, Tingle Rocket plans to take over gyms with the hordes of shadow Pokemon. Thankfully, we know our heroic trainers will step up to face this challenge. Get ready for shadow raids. So again, they put all of us at work here for some reason. I mean, we're not getting paid, So Tingo Rocket will launch their plans during the Rising Shadow event starting May 22nd, which is tomorrow, right? You're gonna need more information about that event happening in just a moment. That's gonna be the next part of this news cycle. Tingo Rocket is coming to town. Tingo Rocket's machinations may have led them to the latest and greatest plan, taking over gyms with shadow Pokemons. In shadow raids, trainers can take on powerful shadow raid bosses and have the chance to catch new Pokemon partners if they can successfully defeat the shadow raid boss, that is. Trainers can gather their friends for a better chance of victory in shadow raids, just like any other raids. We know that. While Tingo Rocket will be taking over numbers of gyms, those that are left untouched may still host other raids. So, I mean, it's just basically adding more raids to the pool at this point. Trainers cannot join shadow raids using remote raid passes, and shadow raids do not reward a team bonus for premierables. Okay, so I want to talk about that line specifically before we move on. We cannot remote this. That's already, feeling like they're actually trying to exclude remote raids, but it makes sense, especially because this may only be temporary to what a lot of people are saying. They want to make sure that they bring the community together to actually do the shadow race. This is actually an enticing feature that says, okay, just like when regular race came out, people were going out and about. If they had already put remote race into the mix at the beginning of these event starts, then the communities were not going to be, planning out their days to make sure that they can start doing shadow race. And I feel like that's a lot of the things that people are not getting. At least they're always looking at the wrong side of the picture. They're thinking they're excluding the people that they cannot do raids or remotely raids. I feel like this feature alone will start to grab the attention of people to go out, do this raids, meet up with other players, meet up with the communities, and grow those communities once again when it comes down to it. So that's my take on it. I really think that it's not going to be a full permanent feature. If it is, kind of sad, but in the end of the day, it makes sense that you want to actually keep it in person. And then, of course, it does say that it does not reward a team bonus for premierables. It's kind of obvious because it is a rocket gym. Actually, I can't believe I'm saying that. A rocket gym. So you will not have a team bonus when it comes down to it. Any opinions on that, Chris?
Yeah, the team bonuses not being active is very interesting, especially when it's something like Mewtwo. It's going to be very, very tough to catch. So,
yes, definitely. So it's going to be interesting. Now, we do have a little bit of, information about what shadow raids are happening over the side of the world because, it is Sunday. So this is actually happening already in parts of the world. I also want to say that our guests should be joining us pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. A shadowy strength. At gyms hosting Shadow Raids, you find Tingo Rockets that place especially powerful Shadow Pokemons as raid bosses. 3-star and 5-star bosses will grow enraged as you battle them, boosting their attacks and defenses. Continue to hold your ground and weaken the Shadow Raid bosses to seduce them. So basically just like any other raid, but it looks like they're going to be getting stronger and stronger as more time passes. So it's a possibility they might be a little bit harder to take down, especially for newer players out there that don't have the correct counters. It might just be something that a lot of people or at least be wary of it. It doesn't seem to be too hard to do the 1-stars. The 3-stars may give you a little bit of trouble, but we haven't seen a lot of people really go it alone when it comes down to it just yet. And then the power of purification, purifiedpodcast.com. Thank you so much. You can
we're gonna be flying soon.
Dude, this is like my lore right here, It's like you subdue shadow raid bosses using purified gems, a new item that can be assembled from shadow shards. Shadow shards are mysterious chain pieces that may be dropped by Tingo Rocket. Gather enough shards to use Professor Willow's newly invented shard refiner, and you'll be rewarded with a purified gem. If I would have said shard a little bit different, that would have been sounded so weird. There are multiple ways purified gems can assist you in battle against enraged shadow raid bosses. So I want to actually emphasize the enraged part of the shadow raid. In the original games, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness, a shadow Pokemon can actually become enraged with how much power they have at the time. So, and it could actually attack the trainer if that were the case, or not listen to you. So to subside them, you usually call them out, saying, okay, so you calm them down, things like that. This is something similar to that, just using the mechanics of Pokemon Go and the Purified mechanic to really use that and to an advantage. What's going to happen is when you use a Purified gem during a Shadow Raid, the enraged Shadow Pokemon's attack and defense will be lowered temporarily. This can give you the opening you need. You and your fellow trainers can use more than one Purified gem during a Shadow Raid. If you use them at the same time, their effects will stack. So thank you for clarifying that. If enough Purified gems are used, the enraged Shadow Raid boss will subside, return to its non-enraged stage, which may give you the chance that you need to defeat it. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Shadow Raids in Pokemon Go. A little bit more information that's just coming out from Australia, actually. You only need 4 Shadow Shards to make 1 Purified gem. It's a little bit better, and almost everything drops it. I think the only thing that doesn't drop it yet, or hasn't been confirmed that drops it, is grunts. But leaders, raids, or shadow raids, do drop the shards when you defeat them, especially 1-star and 3-star ones, which is the only thing that we're gonna have right now. So, or at least until the event starts.
So that means if you use it on a Mewtwo, you might get at least one shard back. So
yes,
not horrible.
Not horrible, but it is possible to have multiple of them. So it's gonna be another item that we're gonna have to keep track on. But it's cool.
Oh God! I hope is it taking up bag space?
Definitely. So Shadow Rays are super cool. And then we're gonna be talking about the next event in just a moment, because it looks like our guest is ready to join us. And let me go ahead and see if I can get them going here. Here it is. Let me make sure. I want to make sure that I'm doing this right. It's been a while since I actually done this from a different perspective. Boop. Okay, well, I lost Chris in a second. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Okay, well, I got Chris back, so that's good.
Welcome.
I want to see, is my camera working? Yes, it's working. Okay, cool. And for anybody in the podcast, sorry about this. It's mostly like I'm doing this on the fly, so I apologize for the weirdness of it. So give me a second. It looks like our guest is was supposed to join us. I'll see what I can do here. But I just want to change something here real quick, so it doesn't seem too weird. I guess Keo will join us in just a moment. We do have 3 people in this call, so yeah. So I want to actually reiterate who our guest is. He actually asked to be back to join us today on our podcast today. So when he actually gets here, I want to give you everybody who's in the chat or anything, just make sure you hype it up. You know, hello, how you doing? But yeah, so. What do you think about the Shadow Race mechanics so far, Chris, before we move on to the next piece?
The only thing I'm worried about is how hard something like Shadow Mewtwo is actually going to be to defeat. Do I need to use a Purified Gem to beat it? You know, like if we have 20 people, I feel like we should be able to take it down, no problem. Sure, it might be hard. Sure, it might one-shot everything. But it also should be like a glass cannon, I would think. So I'm hoping it's not completely overpowered. Like maybe one person uses a Purified Gem and we're able to take it out, but we'll see. I mean, obviously we're going to want to use as many as possible, but the wording of it makes it feel like when they say when you use enough Purified Gems, it returns to a non-enraged state. That makes me think that's putting it in to the same stats as a non-shadow Pokemon, just a normal Pokemon. That's what it makes it sound like to me, at least.
Right. All right.
Welcome.
1 minute, let me connect the camera.
Don't worry. This is the Scuff podcast. Don't worry about it.
There we go. Awesome.
All right, everybody, welcome. Pokemon Crossroads here on the stage of the Purified podcast today. How you doing, my man?
Pretty good. This is Mikey, so feel free to call me Mikey. Pokemon Crossroads 2 formal.
Too FOMO? Like what? I mean, this is your handle, brother. This is what you do for a living.
Yeah. Well, if I can make it my living, that'd be great.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. I same thing here. But welcome, Mikey. We're so glad for you to join us. I know that you had a pretty cool tournament. Did you win it all?
Oh, I didn't play it. I am actually a tournament organizer for Pokemon. I'm a professor.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you did tell me about that. You did tell me about that. I was actually super cool about that. I was supposed to technically meet you in Orlando, but unfortunately plans were not ahead of time. But welcome to the podcast, and welcome to the Purified podcast, really. This is Chris, my co-host.
Hi, Chris. Hello. First time call in. Many time listener. How that goes again?
Yeah, definitely. We've actually been really good friends on Twitter, so we actually talked a lot of things. And yeah, Chris and I also, we all share the passion of Pokemon here, so it's kind of like the thing that we always want to talk about. I'm glad that you can join us. I know that you wanted to come here to talk about a few things, but of course, as a guest, we do want to introduce everybody out there. So first and foremost, Mikey, go ahead and introduce us, and what do you do out there?
Well, my name is Mikey. If you know me in real life, you know me as a person that does a lot of tournament stuff, lots of Pokemon stuff as well. Like this weekend has been pretty busy for me because we were able to start doing video game championship tournaments this week, starting in May, and me and a other judge in our area decided that we're going to do them both the same weekend. And we're the only video game judges in the area, so we like to help each other out. He wins this tournament, I judge it, help him out, do the team legality checks, and then he comes to my shop. He comes to the shop that I do my tournaments at, and he helps me out, and we started a bit late, but we also got done just now, so I got home and got my computer out and got the stuff back together to be here. If you know me from online, I am the editor-chief and owner of Pokemon Crossroads. We are a website that covers as much Pokemon as we can. Mostly I stick to fan stuff. You may have seen us before with our bi-monthly column called Podcast Central, where we showcase all the Pokemon podcasts that are out there. And constantly growing because I keep finding new ones and I gotta feature them. Yes. And I gotta say, hey, these are also great podcasts. You should listen to them because these are also great. And then here are all the other ones.
Yes.
So
definitely.
I think I featured you guys in the spotlight a month or two ago. It's been a while. I took all April off. April was busy, so.
No, it's understandable. I mean, sometimes life gets in the way, and you want to do other things, but it's understandable. But we always want to thank you for always featuring us when you can. Sometimes, even talking about things and having other people listen to us, it's always a great achievement. So we appreciate you helping us expand that same network out there too. So,
yep.
But but definitely. It looks like you have always so much business when it comes to Pokemon in itself. You see TCG. I hope that one day you'll get into a Pokemon Go tournaments out there to the play Pokemon events.
So those are coming. Ooh. I know somebody in our area can do it. I more of a professor. Like if people want it, I would do it. I had a few interesting parties doing it. Personally, I will not be able to do them this season, as in before June 30th, because my June is also kind of busy as well.
Yeah.
I do all my tournaments on one day next month, and that's at the TCG and VGC. But I could do it. I've done it before. I don't think I could do 3 tournaments as much as I want to do it. Yeah. I also gotta know my. limits.
I know it just takes a lot out of everybody.
It's planning, but I can't plan so much in so little time.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, if you can get more helpers out there, that might actually alleviate some of the problems out there. But it's what we can and could do because Pokemon Go seems to integrate into the play Pokemon circuit so well that it's incredible. So I hope that that's going to be the case, and that's what's actually going to bringing more people into the circle. So
I hope so, especially after the news from last weekend about Sylph. I hope. I mean, it's horrible that did happen. It's unfortunate, but I'm hoping a lot of Sylph organizers will try to try to become Pokemon professors and organize things within the play Pokemon circuit.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, as there's bad things about as we've been hearing for the last 3 months with tournaments, but there's people like us who are really trying to push people out there to get more involved with the community, be more involved with the professor program, and the professor program is really helpful. Like, there's any issues, I could call on a network of support to help with that issue. Like, okay, how do I do this, or this not working out? Things like that.
Yes.
And the more, I think Ken said it best. The more of us are working together, the more we all float together up. Or he said something like that.
Yeah, no, I hear him talk about that all the time, and it's great when it comes down to it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. What is your favorite Pokemon of all time?
Oddish.
Oddish. Oh,
Yes.
that's an interesting one.
I have one right here. I'm gonna grab it. I do.
That
Burger
is
King Oddish.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, everybody
I
has
like
a favorite
the
Pokemon,
choice.
and that's what I really like it. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people usually talk and say a more stream-like, Charizard kind of the stuff.
Charizard.
I got Sylveon over there. That's my favorite Pokemon of all time. So that's one.
Charizard's up there as well. I mean, he's like top 5. People say the original favorite. But then who doesn't like a big giant fire-breathing dragon?
Dragonish.
But Oddish dragon, depending on it, mega evolves.
Right, yeah.
So much love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But Oddish is cool.
Now, another question, and that's like I said, Oddish is pretty cool. I'm guessing you probably have him as your buddy at Pokemon Go every other day, So
No, I don't. I like to show off shinies. So right now, I think my buddy is shiny Arcanine. I had a shiny Hoot Hoot.
nice. Yeah.
I had the shiny Kyogre at one point in time. I have a shiny Rayquaza there. I need the shiny Groudon. Haven't been lucky enough to get that shiny Groudon, but as soon as that shiny Groudon is gotten, it's gonna become my buddy, and we're going to.
Whenever it
That's
comes
huge.
back, whenever it comes back. Which I don't think Primal are gonna come back anytime soon, because that's a good feature regardless. That's gonna be insane.
That's why they got rid of remote. That's why they limited remote raids.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh god.
Too soon?
Yeah.
Too soon?
Sadness.
Yeah, not enough. So how much time do you spend in Pokemon Go? How much have you actually played or really done? Or how did your introduction to Pokemon Go was? Like, were you a day 1 player, day 5 player, then 2 years
So-
later player?
I am a day 0 player.
Okay.
I played the beta. When the beta first came out in 2016, I got an email saying, "Hey, we noticed you work with Pokemon Crossroads, and we would like for you to join the Pokemon Go beta, and write an article about it, say what you like and things like that." It's on the Crossroads website somewhere. You type in Pokemon Go beta, I'm pretty sure you can find it. But I played that.
Nice.
I did that. That was fun. I
So-
thought I could keep, but it told us ahead of time that
Ah.
we couldn't keep our account.
Oh, you couldn't keep your account.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it would have been nice to actually see the start date to be before July 6th, which was the actual release date of Pokemon Go. So that would have been cool regardless. But it's actually still quite amazing that you were part of the bits and pieces of actually making Pokemon Go for a bit, even if it's just testing it out before the global release. So that's pretty
I
cool.
remember enjoying it a lot. I was really impressed with. I mean, even though it had its issues. I mean, no, I don't remember having that many issues, but it wasn't like that was before like everybody flooded in. Like we saw what happened when it first came out. Everybody flooded the servers. Nobody could play.
Oh yeah,
That was fun.
That was world peace at its finest. I can tell you that much.
Yes.
Even with the downsides. Then let me ask you also this. So special to this question. How long have you really, known Pokemon, or how were you introduced to Pokemon itself in this story, like way back in the 1990s or something like that?
1990s. Like I was like right. I don't want to say I was right there, but I know early on. I remember my first time. I remember getting this Science magazine subscription. I forgot what it's called, but they had an article about Pokemon, about the Porygon incident.
Oh,
I go, oh, what is this? Oh, Pocket Monsters.
It was all
Pokemon?
Pikachu.
because
It was all-
yeah.
See, we didn't know that at the time. Like they just mentioned it, but they didn't say anything happening. Like, okay, let me watch this show, see if I can spot it. Hopefully, I don't get a seizure from it.
Right.
So I watched the show, saw the anime. I said, oh, and then eventually I knew it was about a game. Like, okay, cool. I want to get the game, so I got Pokemon Pinball instead. Because my parents started a new Pokemon game. Like, oh yeah, Pokemon Pinball. And like, oh, this is not the game, but okay, cool. So I played that and then got red version. And I just kept sticking to it. I don't.
They-
Some people usually take a some people take a break. It's more like lows and highs. Like you get really into it, and then you take a little break. You still play it, but go back and forth. And that's pretty much been me.
Yeah, basically that's almost everybody's story when it comes down to it. It for me was mostly like I knew Pokemon, especially because of the anime. I played the games. I believe Yellow was my first one. But then I was always like the casual player, like super casual. Played all generations because I was still in love with the game. I don't know why I was still in love with the game, but I still loved it anyways. It was addicting, I guess. I played every single generation, even though it was harder enough to get like the newer consoles, the 3DSs, the Nintendo SPs, all the stuff. And then at some point when I actually was in a place where a lot of people were playing Pokemon with me and things like that, people were saying, I was like, oh, go ahead and train your EVs and IVs. I was like, you know what? I like playing Pokemon for what it is. Just catch them, battle them, know the story, and pretty much done. I usually just play one story and then be done with it in the end of the day. But Pokemon Go just like reunited that to its fullest.
Oh yeah.
So,
by the time Pokemon Go came out, I was really deep into Pokemon in general, because I blame my parents kind of for this because I usually work for my dad. My dad's a landscaper, so he cuts yards, and he said, "Hey son, you gonna cut yards with me too? I pay you money, so save money." And then hey, new Pokemon game, bro. I got money. I'm gonna do his money. Pokemon. Hey, I need a Game Boy Advance. Well, I got $100. I could buy the Game Boy Advance. So money.
Was it really that cheap back then? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I don't remember how much was it, but at the same time, it's like, well, I got $200. That's the Game Boy Advance. Yeah. That's a Pokemon Ruby there. Well, I could spend the money. I got nothing to do this summer besides watching TV.
Once you finally get that sweet taste of money, you can start spending it everywhere. So.
Exactly. And then
solid.
And around Gen 4, I got more into the online communities. I joined different forums. One of them was Pokemon Elite 2K 2000. We started that, and then Pokemon Crossroads came out of that, and that's when I started doing more reporting aspect from it.
Yeah.
Around Generation 5, I got into the trading card game. Met some other people in my area who did play the trading card game. From there, just it's been constant Pokemon. It's like playing the card game. Oh, people want to do video game. Well, I can figure out how to do the video game tournaments. I know how to do the trading card tournaments. Let's do that. And then I started doing the regional events. And then this past season, I just got right into the regional events.
Good.
So, you see a person with an artist on shoulder at a regional. That's me, Mikey. I always welcome people to say hi to me, and I always try to take some pictures of cosplayers because I just like tweet out or like anything interesting. Like you see anything interesting on the Pokemon Crossroads Twitter account, that's me. Last year I got kind of I don't want to say famous, but the giant Pokemon card, the guy that had a giant Pokemon card deck.
Yeah.
I took that picture on Crossroads, and then that got sent everywhere.
That's what we call the 15 minutes of fame, basically.
Yeah, the 15 minutes. I got my 15 minutes of fame there because somebody took a picture of me looking at that, and oh, oops, that wasn't supposed to happen.
It happens, but that's how it is.
Happened.
Sometimes the algorithm, even between Twitter or YouTube, they just catches you, and you're just like off the races when it comes down to it. But it just depends on how you want to capitalize on it. That actually, well, yeah, I know, I agree. I was in the same boat at some point. So what I want to actually, technically, continue for that question is what made you want to create the content that you want to do? I see a lot of the Pokemon Crossroads, the Podcast Central, and of course I know that you're a professor from for the games out there. But what made you want to really put in all into that one specific place, that specific content that you create?
So we were doing Pokemon Crossroads back in the day. We were working on Pokemon Crossroads. We were working on Pokemon Elite 2000. That site, the owner for that site, great guy. Just we want to do things. The owner want to do this, and we just figured, well, we're going to do our own thing. So we made Pokemon Crossroads, and we made the idea for that site was to focus on the fans. Yes, we could focus on news, but you got Siri out there. You got a bunch of different websites talking about Pokemon news, but we wanted to focus on fans itself. And back then I was just a little peon writer at the time. So okay, fine, fan stuff. Well, I can stay up late at night to write any random late night news, but if I had a chance, I would focus on fan content. Okay, fan art. Yeah, they just posted a bit of fan art. This is cool fan art. Here, enjoy it. But when it came to podcasts, nobody was doing podcasts. Nobody was talking about podcasting. And at that time, I had the time to listen to bajillion podcasts. I was driving all over town. I could stick a podcast in to entertain myself, learn more about Pokemon itself. Oh, TCG, let me just listen to a TCG podcast. Video game, let me do that. Things like that. And yes, well, there's so many Pokemon podcasts there, or there could be so many Pokemon podcasts there. Why not just have a big centralized list for them? And then from there, just like, okay, yeah, I'm going to start with Pokemon Super Effective. I'm going to start with Steven Super Effective. Oh, there's Puckle. I'm going to name a lot of podcasts right now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, then Pokemon, and then like different trading card podcasts came and go. Anime podcasts. Then 2016 happened. Pokemon Go podcasts happened. I mean, if you type in Podcast Central, you could see the evolution of that list happening. Whereas like it started at 4 or 5 podcasts and then became 10, and then there's different sections in the column for like Go, trading card, video game battling, role playing podcasts. They are there. And like it just from there, just like I like to focus on the podcasts a lot, but at the same time, you like to focus on the fans. Like, oh, something interesting happened with a fan. Some guy decided to go with giant TCG cards to a tournament. This sounds interesting. This sounds fun. I think people need to see this. Oh, cool video that I think you may be interested in. I thought it was interesting. I think you guys would like it. Enjoy this content here.
Yeah.
And while we do the news, it's fun and interesting. It just everybody does that. I mean, like last week we had a bunch of news pop out. I got home at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna say I'm gonna eat dinner, watch some TV. 9 o'clock happens. I'm gonna type in the news from this day, and if somebody did not see it from SuriNet that day, or they need a reminder, it'll be pop up in the morning. So like, hey, there we go. Somebody will look at it. You used to say, oh, yeah, that's happening today. Let me just go ahead and retweet that for Mikey, and then we do that.
Yeah.
Like the like for example, the shadow raids, right? The shadow raids are coming up this week. I didn't get to that. Like I wanted to on Friday. I said, okay, but the arc was done. I'm just gonna post it for Monday morning because somebody's gonna forget about it. Somebody's gonna wake up tomorrow going,
there you go.
Shadow raids, that's a thing. Thank you, Mikey. I forgot all about this. Thank you.
That's gonna be me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it is what it is, and it's fine because, like I said, everybody else does a good job of news. Joe from Merrick, guy's a man. He even worked at his wedding, for goodness sakes.
I don't know how he does it. Yeah, I'm surprised that he is a one-man team half the time. You know, it's like
one-man team is great on, but I have learned that if you want to last a long time, you get some team members help you out.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But he's been doing it for a long time too, so you know, you get busy. I don't know.
It's how life is, really.
It's how life is.
You wanna do so much, but you only have so little time in time. And if you're not really doing enough to, you know, make the money or the content out there for the money, it's really not. It's really just a hobby with a side hustle in the end of the day. So
yeah, it's always a hobby. At the end of the day, as much as I love doing the professor stuff, I need to give myself some time to do other things as well, like.
Be yourself. Yeah, I mean, as much as we love Pokemon, there's still a life out there, and we literally a lot of times when it comes down to it. So,
I mean, I've seen a lot of people do this for a long time. Like I've been doing this like almost 10 years now. I've seen a lot of people enter the Pokemon podcast fandom, and they get out and they come back sometimes. Or I've seen a bunch of fans go on, but like I think the websites are very okay. Well, remember this thing from like 2016, bro.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Definitely. So basically your content is bring everything all on one, so they basically everybody can really look it up and say, okay, so I remember this, I remember that, this is what happened. And then you still have the website, you have still the central of the whole, basically all the fandom, if you think about it. Everything that Pokemon really has to offer in all aspects of the game. So it's actually kind of nice to have one place to really listen to them all. You know, you're technically competing with Zeri, but you know,
Zeri does not have podcasts.
No, that's
it's very unique. Yeah, I'm glad you came up with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, really do appreciate the work that you do and the way that you really expand, not just on one thing, but everything. Like everybody's fandom when it comes down to Pokemon in the end. So let me ask you, now that you play, and you know, you play Pokemon since technically the very first day. I know that you are getting close to what, level 40, or you're level 40 already, right?
I have level 40. I just hit 43 about February. I hit Slowpoke. Was it Slowpoke community today? I hit 43.
Nice.
I was trying to farm that community day. to get 43 because I need that EXP. The missions are easy. It's just the experience. Ugh.
So, what are your goals for Pokemon Go? It's like what it really entice you to keep on playing the game as much as you do?
Playing every day by getting my stops, getting my daily catches. That's if I don't do anything else, it is okay. Did I spend a stop take? Yes. Did I caught something? Yes. Did I fed my buddy something? Yes. That came out very helpful for that masterwork research for Hoenn. So awesome.
Yeah.
Did I do those dailies every day? That's I try to go for the bare minimum. My other goal is get a shiny once per week. Sometimes I'm really good at it. Lately, not so much. This is my first. The Pichu that I hatched this week was my first shiny since Ask Community Day. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. That means I gotta play more often. But
that's good. That's a good goal. Have you ever think that you want to push double 50 at some point, or?
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean,
basically, yeah.
Look, there's some people that have 50. That's great.
Yeah, it's not an easy grind. Trust me. It's slow. It's slow and steady.
Just like with podcasts, just like with Pokemon podcasting, I would love to listen to all, but during I remember the number. I can't do it, especially now with a different job where it doesn't let me drive so much. No,
I feel like that if you listen to 100 podcasts in a week, that's just like crazy enough. Just listening.
The stats that Pocket Cast told me about last year was crazy. I don't think I'm gonna hit that number again this year. But the thing is, I can't do everything. If I'm doing TCG, I gotta pay attention to VGC. I gotta pay attention to the professor stuff that's happening that week. I gotta pay attention to the podcasting. I got to enjoy myself as a playing the Pokemon itself.
Yeah.
Put some time into TCG stuff. People say, as much as I joke, I don't play this game. I do play the TCG. I enjoy it, but I need to know what's up with the TCG stuff. When people say, "Hey, Miguel, Mikey," we go ahead and black that name out. Sorry. Hey, Mikey, how does this work? Yes, cool beans. Yes, that's how it works. Thank you, Mikey. We trust you to not get us wrong.
That's great. That's great. Then let's go into more of a fun questions of the interview today. If you could go back and change any Chinese in the game for the better, what would it be? What shiny would you think that would be better changed? I know I'm making you think today.
That's pretty hard. All the shine's fine. I wish it was more gold color, but I could live with that. It used to be more gold color, but not anymore.
Oddish is okay. I really like the shiny too.
The ones that are like subtle change shinies. Pretty much any shiny prior to any bad shiny. This is my answer. Any bad shiny prior to Gen 5. Those shinies.
Yeah,
and the stars.
Yeah, I want to say that mostly the ones prior to that is because of how the game couldn't handle color differences, and it was just a subtle difference in change and all that.
Yeah, there's an algorithm to it. So, I think the basic description is like opposite of the color wheel. Whatever the color wheel is in Pokemon at the time, it was the opposite color to that.
Yeah.
So it was just like really subtle. That's why you got those subtle changes, or you got the really radical ones. They may have done some specific custom shinies at a time.
Yeah.
But those, I'm pretty sure they played with the algorithm to do that. Like Charizard. Well, Charizard was purple at one time in Gen 2. Now it's black. Scizor was gold at one time in Gen 3, but then it became that. It's
Greenish.
not a bad green. It's not a bad green, but it's
like
not
a light green. Yeah.
It's light green. It's the green that nobody likes, but it's good on him.
It's like a good polished green, I guess I should say.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially now that you can really see it like in 3D and Scarlet and Violet and all that. So it's like kind of nice.
For example, Delphox. Delphox does not look good in game. When I evolved it, I was surprised at how good it looks like today. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You look pretty good. I remember you being ugly, but you look good. But the Gen 6 shinies are a decision that they make. Sometimes they are.
I love when people say Niantic is like, why is the shiny so bad? I'm like, do you understand? It's not Niantic that's doing this.
Yes, exactly. He's like, I mean,
it's like, good luck actually trying to find that out. But anyways,
I feel like Pokemon is like, well, we know these shinies are bad, but it's kind of too late to change them now. We're just gonna leave them.
But
the way they
surprisingly, no,
are.
there was a little bit of change somewhere in Gen 8. I think it was like
Really?
Kabaskan shiny was a lot more darker than it used to be. I think there was another one I can't remember right now, but it's definitely some. They have made an adjustment, but not to the point where it says I need to change it completely. You know?
Unrecognizable. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have, like I said, anything past Gen 6 is a decision they made. We may not like their decisions, hint, the Paldean starters,
Oh God.
but okay, I respect that.
No, the one.
It's your game.
I
We're
think-
just playing it.
I think the one that I hate the most is just Cerulege and Armorish shiny changes, subtle change. I'm like, you just couldn't
Contact
reverse the
lenses.
colors from the two different ones. That was the point of having. And you know what? I can go on forever. I'm not gonna go now. Anyways,
if I could change one thing, Shiny Rise, and this is mostly Scarlet and Violet. Great games. We need to do something competitive-wise. We need to sort of share competitors in that game, but that's a completely different topic. I've spent all weekend talking about already. The shinies, and regarding shinies, I like what they did in PoA, where like you walk by, you do ding,
oh God.
and the stars. See, that was really great, and I respect what you guys did for the shinies on the overworld, but some Pokemon are too darn small, and their shinies are very subtle, and I have not caught a single shiny in Scarlet and Violet. But if you told me, Mikey, you probably saw like 3 shinies but didn't recognize it, I say, well, that sure did happen, didn't it? Too bad, so sad for me. Oopsie daisies.
It's definitely
Not
something totally. Like somebody actually pointed out, I think it was Joe Maverick, that imagine that you walk through probably 100 or 1,000 Dittos and you just didn't even check on any of them. One of them could have been shiny, and nobody checked. So
Yeah, because like this, the shiny Ditto, you have to find it. It transformed to something.
yeah.
Not shiny. You talk to that Pokemon. You defeat it. You catch it, and ta-da! It's a shiny. And like, well, okay.
It's basically it's gonna happen regardless of how.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about this point. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, I played Let's Go recently, and I got like 2 shinies, which is like, okay, cool. That's 2 more than No, I would say Sun and Moon because I played Sun and Moon prior to that, and Ultra Sun and Moon. I got 1 shiny in that game, so okay, 1 more than my last game that I played.
Yeah.
But cool beans. I mean, that's
So moving on, because I know we can talk Chinese all day if you wanted to.
I can talk all day.
yeah.
There's a reason why I write because I could write a lot, but I also got to. It's easy to control how much I write,
Yeah.
how much I talk. I can talk for a long time. There's a reason why I talk.
No worries. So in Pokemon Go, what's your biggest win? What is it that you're most proud of obtaining, of getting, or doing when it comes down to the game?
The shiny legendaries. It's those are like okay, like the raids. You gotta go out and you gotta do them. I mean, I love it when you invite me for the remote raids. Not some, I have been getting less of those lately, but I can see why. But the raids, you gotta put more extra effort into. You gotta go. I had like 80, I have 80 raid passes. It's the same in my box. Like remember, in the beginning game when the raids was a thing that came out, like every special box they had was like, oh, here's like 5 raid passes. Like okay, I did those boxes. I hoard those raid passes, and they just stay in my spot in my things for so long. But so you find more Fennekin's in 1 week than you find a Mewtwo, whoever the raid boss is. Like it's Typhoonie, right? Mm-hmm. Cause you gotta go out there for Typhoonie, right? And if you don't have 8 raid passes, you're probably gonna do like 1 Typhoonie per day. So that's 5 Typhoonies.
You got a free one too. So.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the free ones. Like if you go out and raid every day, but you free to play, you probably have 7 raid passes at most, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you got 7 chances to get this shiny Typhoonie. Mm-hmm. Great. So there's less chance of me getting shiny Typhoonie compared to the Fennekin in 1 week. Let's say this time we don't have a community day, right?
Right.
Like you could every Fennekin you see. You play a game for like 5 hours a day. You tap on every Fennekin. By the end of the week, one of those Fennekin's should be lucky shiny if you have decent luck.
Yeah.
When it comes to but when you go to a raid and you free to play, one of those 7 type Phoenix
obtaining a shiny out of the raid out of free play player is not bad. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, so that's a good win when it comes down to it.
Yeah, so I have
I agree.
I have Shiny Mewtwo. That one I got when it first came out. Like, oh shoot, there's a Shiny Mewtwo here. Excuse me.
Just wait until this weekend.
we get that. Yeah. I have the Shiny Kyogre. That was a surprise as well.
Nice.
I have 2 shiny Rayquazas. That's a surprise as well. If anybody has a shiny Groudon and you need a shiny Rayquaza, I got you, bud. Hit me up and we will talk.
I think that's a trade a lot of people would do.
I am telling you, when it comes to trading big things in trading card or in real life, if I have 2, I don't mind sharing. It's like I don't need that many 4-art Gardevoirs.
Right.
If you could give me a 4-art Gardevoir EX, if I could give you 1 4-art Gardevoir EX and you give me 1 in return, fine. It's a thing. But those shiny legendaries are pretty great.
Yes. All right. Perfect. Yeah, no, I agree, and especially when you do it as free as possible when it comes down to it. So, I mean, even for the casual player, just getting a shiny legendary is like the biggest thing in the world for them. So, and it makes sense, and it makes a lot of sense.
I have a kid. Okay, I am a teacher. Okay, this is my day job. That pays the bills, put the food on the table. I had this one kid who wasn't my student for like a month before he got transferred out. He comes to me every day saying, Mister, look at this. I got this legendary. Like, they're happy with that. Like, casual players are really happy with just getting the raids or just that. So you get a shiny, that's like, whoa, that's congratulations.
Yeah,
even the week.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is like we're basically just evening out the playing field when it comes to a lot of different things, especially to the recent changes. Is that the more casual player will be more happy to get what they need if they had the people to do it. But when you do things, the way that we've been doing it for the last 3 years because of COVID-19, it just doesn't feel the same. And just getting to that moment is a lot different when it comes down to it. So I guess in some ways you can also see it in that coin. But again, we can talk about all that if we wanted to for the last month since, it's been like this anyways. But moving on. In Pokemon Go, I know there's a lot of different features and a lot of different things that you actually really enjoyed and new ones coming up pretty soon, as we talked. If you can pick one aspect of the game to permanently fix and improve, what aspect would that be?
Is that the reason why we're here today?
Well,
the reason I asked you.
There's one. That's one of the reasons, and then we'll get to this there. So.
I would say the remote raids. I agree. After hearing what we heard this past week, I agree that the remote raids were a problem. That's how I did most of my raiding since COVID.
Yep.
As much as I like to get out there, my nights after like Tuesday is like packed. I gotta go out with a girl, have some fun with her. Brother comes out on Thursday. We hang out. Friday, I have a social life. That's my one social life day that I go with friends.
But you really gotta convert everybody to Pokemon players in a Pokemon Go.
We play Pokemon Go. We all play Pokemon Go. But the thing is, we can't do Pokemon all day Okay. We can do Pokemon every day, but we can't do it all day every day, right?
Technically, you can do Pokemon Go every day without having to even look at the phone, but you're still playing as long as you walk from one step to the other step because of how interesting. So you're still playing. You're just not noticing it.
Yes. But the remote raids were really good. Like I said, I appreciate when you send me the remote raids. It's like, oh, cool. I go and do a remote raid in Florida. Whenever going to do a raid in Florida, the next time I do a regional in Florida.
There you
go.
Yeah.
But it's great. I appreciate what the remote raids did. And bringing community of online friends closer together. I can't do Wednesday raid hour because I out that night with somebody, right? And it'd be rude to say, hey, do you want to go do this remote raid with a bunch of strangers? Or you want to do this raid with a bunch of strangers that you don't know? No? Okay, great, because I don't feel like it here. I mean, I also it takes me a while to warm up with people. As much as I'm social online, I take advantage of the social mask that nobody sees his face.
Yeah.
For a good reason.
Yeah.
But real life people are like, I go into the back of it, I'm going to slowly get in there, but I can't guarantee I would stay.
Right.
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 So the remote raids were like great for social anxiety is a thing. Have a degree of it to some degree, but there's some people worse. Right. So remote raids were great for them.
I was gonna say also that's another side of the spectrum is that it was flexible enough for a lot of people.
It was really flexible. That
So
helped me out.
it helps. Yeah, it does help out the player the most, especially the ones because if you think about it, even as if the target audience is not for Pokemon Go, it should be the ones that do play it does have a life too. So the flexibility of it makes sense.
If I had a gas station and you invite me to a Ho-Oh raid, yeah, I would do it. I got the remote raid pass for it. I could do that. Yeah, you did it. You did that once. I was at a gas. You sent me a remote raid. I was at a gas station. I see the girlfriend, and okay, I could do it. I could just pump gas and do that. There we go. There's my raid. If it's shiny, great. If it's not, hey, I got extra hoe, right? But they did have a point.
Yes.
It was getting crazy. I agree with that. 5 remote raid passes is per day reasonable, and then as you saw with Cleaver raid day, they bumped it up to 10. Right? Was it 10?
Yeah.
They bumped it to 10. Now they had the ability to do so. A bit greedy, but whatever. Their game, we play it.
And I think that a lot of I think everybody is also in part with this. It's like it would have been fine to keep the limit, just don't raise the prices.
That's my fix. I spent this long time talking. This is why we don't let Mikey talk because it's going to take forever to get to the point. The price raise was a bit overkill.
Yeah.
I agree. Having both is too much.
Yeah. Alan brought up a really good point. Can't you tell I listen to a bunch of podcasters, even though I said I don't listen to a bunch of podcasters anymore? Alan brought up a great point. If you free to play, if you collect your coins right, like you should be, like you can, you could afford the remote raid pass pack and play your 3 raids. But now you raise the price, and what took me a week to do, now it takes me 2 weeks to do.
Yep.
And now I can't engage in this game as much as you want me to, as I want to. Right. You want me to do remote. You want me to do in-person raids. I could do it if I try. But we all have different situations.
Yeah.
I play from work. I am inbound. I am homebound. I have social anxiety. I'm just way too damn busy to do this.
Yeah,
it's
nothing.
Perfect word here. We will all go out, play Pokemon Go together, hold hands, kumbaya. Yeah. You know what I did today? I was at a tournament. I was in a car shop all day today, in a tournament. There's one Pokestop there that is for the shop because it's a play Pokemon store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to do as much walk as I can with the incense, with the door. Not that many Fennekin came to me. I got lucky with 4, and I was doing every possible technique to make more pop up. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't, I'm not using a crayon, I can tell you that. But I was doing every trick in the book that didn't involve spoofing to do it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
My judge only got 1. The people who worked at the shop got like 2. So you can't always take part in the community as much as I like. I mean, if I could change the other thing, I'm gonna go straight to this point.
Yeah.
Bring back the 6-hour community days, and make it feel like more like a day and not just community hours. Like, oh, community hours is today.
Again, we're moving to the same coin, which is flexibility. Just the ability to actually do it at a time that's more convenient to you instead of the times that Niantic wants you to do them.
Or just with friends. I mean, the community means so many different things.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to go out and say my community is a bunch of strangers. I love you, strangers. I love all my internet friends. They are all community, right? But real life community is also like, it could be a bunch of strangers you just met that day, which is great, awesome. Mm-hmm. But community is also the amount of friends I have, like the 4 or 5 friends that we do enjoy playing Pokemon Go. Hey, community day is coming up this Saturday, friends. Do you want to go to XYZ Park and just play Pokemon Go together there? Oh, sorry, I can't, Mikey. I'm busy at 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Can we do that last hour? Oh, that's kind of lame. But hey, I am free at 11 o'clock. I don't mind being this way for my 2 o'clock appointment.
Right.
But yes, let's do that. Or we could go to XYZ Mall that has a bunch of Pokestops. And if I really want to be crazy, let's play all 6 hours. I don't think that many people did it, but I could do 2 hours at the mall, an hour at the park, and then I could do the rest at home. I just throw my incense and bada bing, bada boom. I catch the 5 Fennekins that pop out of my house.
No,
it's not a lot.
You know.
But I do miss the 6-hour community days. It felt like a real day, felt like a real event.
Yeah.
And while they did condense it down to 3 hours to make it a more of an event, and then the plus 3 hours afterwards with the raids.
Yeah. No,
I don't know about it. It feels less. It feels like, hey, sorry, you said you could meet at 4. Let's do 1 hour of the actual real community today. And then I guess we could do some raids. Oh, you only got 1 raid pass. I'm sorry. You want to buy some raid passes? No.
I get. Yeah. No, it's a lot. It's a lot when it comes down to it. And it's definitely something that we have discussed it in full length when it comes.
I'm pretty sure I'm being a dead horse at this point.
No worries. But it's not. It's again flexibility, and we're always gonna picture it there. That's the one aspect of the game that we wish that it was big, more on Niantic's vision than more than just their vision of exploring. So. Like I said, I can get you like we can literally like talk for hours when it comes down to all of this because again we have talked for hours about all this extensively for the last year. So, but that's
which episode is this, by the way? How many episodes is this?
159. Yeah.
There's over 139 episodes. Over 159 hours of this content rehashed and redone. I'm pretty sure I just parroting the points that you can. The guys at Pokemon Go Radio when they were doing their thing. I'm pretty sure
everybody definitely has talked about it, and this is like an infinite talk, no matter how much of it. And it's still part of the community out there because there are people out there they do want to give back to that point, and I'm just like, I understand it, I get it. It's time to move on somehow. It's just that's the thing. So. But yeah, so let's move on just a little bit more, and then we'll get you to ask you the questions that you wanted to ask us. Actually, this is actually just a fun question, and I don't know if you actually have tried any one of them.
I'm down for fun.
Okay, so Chris and I we usually have a debate.
Very important,
very important debate here. What do you like best?
Say again.
What do you like best? Sierra Mist or Sprite?
I don't drink soda.
All right.
I challenge you.
I gave up soda for Lent a couple of years back, 2017, I think. No, 2016. I gave up soda for Lent. You know, try to have the sugars in the body, try to drink more water, try to drink other alternatives like that.
Yeah, this is just water anyway. So.
Yeah, this is water right here as well. I mean. Ginger ale, I found out was a soda, and know what? That's I'm gonna spurge a bit. Ginger ale, why not?
There you go.
Having fun times.
There's an answer. Okay, there's the competitor.
But when I did drink soda, when I used to drink soda, it was Sprite.
Yeah.
And in case I'm sorry, Luis, but Sierra Mist is no longer a thing anymore. I'm not sure if
there's a reason.
I heard about that, and I know about it. But here's the thing: my like local like pizza place, it still has Sierra Mist, so I'm actually keeping that.
I keep telling them they just didn't take the sticker down.
I went to Las Vegas and they still have one, so I'm like, okay, they're still alive somehow.
During that Friday night being social with friends night that I'm talking about, we did see a restaurant still have Sierra Mist, but it is now, what's it called again? Do you know what it's called? I listen to I Choose You guys. I'm dropping podcasts this year, by the way.
What is it called?
It's they
oh my
gosh,
new
Sierra Mist, new Sierra Mist name. What is it called?
I can't even remember because it's so mid.
Starry. There you go, Starry.
Oh,
same color as Sierra Mist, but just new name. Yay!
You know what? I'll get into that. Anyways, so Mikey, I know that you wanted to come in to actually ask us a couple of questions about what shadow Pokemons and all those things are happening. So really, what is your biggest take that you want to actually learn most of it from most of us?
How do we fix Purified Pokemon? What's the point of purifying these Pokemon if like I listen to all you guys talk. I listened to Lane from Good Morning Jolo. He talks about the results. I've been to the regionals, and I may be busy helping somebody with TCG, but sometimes I look at the stage. I look at the Pokemon Go casters. They play Pokemon Go, or there's a battle there, and there's a Shadow Pokemon there.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the appeal of the Shadow Pokemon.
Yes.
And it just seems from I play this casual. I mean, I guess I hardcore casual. I don't know how you want to call me. But
that's what we call it. So.
Yeah.
Hardcore casual.
But as illogical I can be sometimes, there's a logical side that says, I can see why you don't purify it. But
there's no upside.
There's no upside to purification. Like, and the whole idea of you play Pokemon Coliseum back in the day when you had this Shadow Pokemon, you were told to purify them.
Yep.
Right? And the spiritual successor in Go is to purify them.
Well, lore-wise, and I want to actually later is lore-wise when it comes to Coliseum and Gale of Darkness, is like you could have the Shadow Pokemon which technically do more damage, it's more super effective to everything else. Once you purify them, it just turns into a regular Pokemon anyways. It wasn't really called Purified Pokemon, even though it was technically that's what the way we were doing for, but in the end of the day, it was just a normal Pokemon after you purify them. So in the end of the day, they really didn't even have a benefit of purifying them. It was just part of the game's lore because you needed to save them. For Pokemon Go, it's similar to that because Shadow Pokemons are suffering from whatever Tingle Rocket is doing, and that's the lore of Pokemon and really Tingle Rocket in itself. And that's the point of purifying them. They do give us some aspect of boost for purifying them, for spending the dust, for spending the candy to purifying them, which is just like I mentioned before. Less candy to evolve them, less candy to power them up. Less Stardust to purify them up. I'm sorry.
So I mean, if you're playing Pokemon Go on a budget, it's great.
Correct.
But now we just evaluate them, and now we know different than Team Go Rocket.
that's really
even from one abuser to the other abuser. Like
after this last announcement, I gotta say that Niantic is in love with Shadow Pokemon. Somebody out there wants it because if you actually saw that trailer of the Shadow Racer,
that was a really good.
I was like, somebody is in love with this game with Shadow Pokemon so much that they had to literally put so much into it that not even the team leaders had in the last 3 months.
like we gave the team apparently at Vegas. The team leaders were really involved in whatever mission that Riddle put us on.
It was the Tingle Rocket leaders that actually were part of
Team Go Rocket leaders. The Team Go Rocket leaders, the same, right?
Yeah.
Like they were involved. I guessing. I don't know the story. I was at Vegas. I mean, you guys were. Oh.
Well,
let's take some of that Mega Energy.
So technically, the lore was it that we needed to help them out.
Guys, give me a minute. I got I think I heard the door knock. So give me 1 minute for that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So when it comes down to Shadow Rays, it actually helps out that that Purified Gem may actually be something good to do from here on out. It's not really beneficial, I guess, in other aspects, but the race will actually be good, right?
Yeah, I'm glad that I actually do shadows without them feeling like a burden.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it won't feel like too much of a chore to do rocket grunts if you're getting even extra.
And
things,
actually,
which, I liked them before.
Yeah, and actually, right when we were talking here, I just checked Twitter real quick, and it looks like the Shadow Shards also drop from grunts. So there's many different aspects for us to be able to actually get the Shadow Shards.
Oh man, can I go back to that question about what kind of change about Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
This is serious. I mentioned this Friday night. Give me a collectible bag. Make me a sub bag in the bag for collectible items.
Oh god, yes.
Just Gimme Gold coins are killing my bag space.
Well, actually, no. Gimme Gold coins don't actually contribute to your bag space.
They don't?
They don't. So you have something else out there that actually keeping you a lot. Like maybe it's all the TMs or anything like that that's keeping you.
No, it probably is the TMs.
Well, let me ask you, how much storage do you have for bag space?
Let me check. Yeah. Open the game right now. Are you guys playing the game?
What I was gonna say is like some people call people, the hardcore casual. No, we're the casual hardcore. So, because we play the game as hardcore as it is, but we play as casually as other people out there that are like in the world top 10 or something. So.
I am at 2,300 backspace,
and we are able to hold up to 53. So I definitely think that it's just a lot of different items that you're keeping there, brother. So.
I am. If I need to ask mail into somebody's podcast and say, how do I manage backspace? How can I manage backspace?
Throw away all your potions. Except for like maybe like 10 or 20 hyper potions, because when you do a raid, you get enough anyway, so it's not much difference.
I don't raid often enough to do that.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
But you're also using a lot when you're doing rockets.
That's true.
Rocket. So you're basically going to need at least a subsequential small little amount of them, because in the end of the day, the grind when it comes down to it is that the gyms were the ones who drop both the potions and revives, while everything else gives you the item. So. But yeah, that's when it comes down to it. I do have somebody in the chat says, are you guys doing any race? We are not spoofers, so I do believe we don't have any race, because it's past 10 o'clock anyways. So,
but back to the topic, right?
Yep.
How do you make it worth purifying? Because like I said, if not, let's go ahead and wear our Team Rocket uniforms that they gave us and just Team Go Rocket.
So based on lore itself, purifying Pokemon should give us the advantage in different ways. It technically is supposed to do more damage to Shadow Pokemons. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that has been implemented. I know that a lot of people are saying that it doesn't really make a difference if you use a regular Pokemon or a Shadow Pokemon when it comes down to it. And then when it comes down to how we can fix it, it's like, we could give them a more benefit than the actual Shadow Pokemon, because Shadow Pokemon's downside is that they have 20% less defense than most Pokemon, but they still do 20% more damage just because they're enraged in that form. As for Purified Pokemon, technically you're turning it back into its regular form, just that they don't have that boost in anything, since in the end of the day, the stats of the Pokemon should still stay the same regardless of how the Purified is. So if we're talking raid-wise, I can see a Purified Pokemon really doing the damage that you need, and the incentive to actually purify them to really take down, especially now doing shadow raids, it makes sense to actually have a shadow Pokemon or a purified Pokemon against a shadow Pokemon when it comes down to it. As when it comes to PvP, that's a little more complex, because PvP should have in its own right the ways that we do it. That the IB floor is completely different. You don't have to have the Hundo to really play PvP and all the stuff. But Purified Pokemon really don't get that benefit of boosting the stats. If not, everybody would be actually getting Purified Pokemon every single time. When it comes down to Shadow, they're still restricted, because you cannot really take, unless you give them a second move, but you can't really give them the moves that you want them, because they have frustration until the event off, when we are able to actually turn away frustration. And that's when people need to grind for the shadows, keep them as long as Niantic decides to do another takeover regardless, and then being able to actually do it when to use it. And then at that point, either Great League, Ultra League, or Master League in a rotating environment, then there's no point of keeping them, because by the time you want to use them, it's going to be another one, and then another Pokemon is going to be a more meta relevant in the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the only way they could have made purified Pokemon, feel worthwhile, other than, what they did with the Apex legendaries, the only thing they could do is make them do more damage to only Shadow Pokemon. I don't think they should do more damage to normal Pokemon, kind of as like a byproduct of purifying them. This got rid of the Shadow over here, so maybe it'll work a little on the ones they're fighting. I don't know.
I want to say that the best course of action when it comes down to it, and I'm sorry for interrupting Chris, is that it's probably could be the same as what a buddy Pokemon is, or a best buddy Pokemon is, because a best buddy does give you the boost in CP. Maybe a purified Pokemon can do the same, but of course they will have to rebalance a lot of the Stardust requirements to actually purify them at that point.
Yeah, because it would sound awesome. Like you invested. Let's say you have a Pokemon that's with Shadow. You purify it. It gets a tiny boost in CP, right? And then so at that point you already put the Stardust in. You already put in the candy in to purify it. And now you're gonna spend X amount of days making your best buddy, the investment that you put into that Pokemon, your bond technically should be better because
Greater?
of it.
Yeah.
Greater.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, that idea, but then like I said, you gotta rebalance a lot of things because now you're potentially hitting level 40 plus with a Pokemon, and wow, we have problems already with the XL candy already. Imagine XL candy plus purification plus best buddy.
And that's not
Naturally, it's gonna be
including
fun.
things like, Mega Pokemons and all that stuff too. So it's just, it kind of paves the way that Purified Pokemons technically should be balanced enough to keep them at the level that we have them right now, especially for PvP, but not overpower enough that the Shadow Pokemons are going to also drop down in menu.
That's true.
So
This is hard part. Is that balance between Purify and
Yeah.
Shadow?
I think-
There's downsides to Shadows.
I believe that most that we're looking for is a more lore-wise the reason why to purify them. Just like the Apex Pokemons, just like Shadow Mewtwo, XD Gale of Darkness. Once we want to bring down Shadow Lugia, but of course they didn't give us Shadow Lugia. They didn't give us XD1001 or whatever it's called. But
Shadow Lugia is personal property of James Turner, and he's no longer with this company anymore.
right. So thank you for that, really, for the big plus about that. But that's the thing, So in the end of the day, there's a lot of layers to when it comes to Purified Pokemons that unfortunately there are just not enough reason to really change their prospect to do what we intended to be.
Yeah.
So, but again, we can see it in many different avenues. I'm sure Niantic at some point is actually looking into it. But with everything that's going on, the Shadow Race, the Shadow Inventions, Tingle Rocket itself,
Yeah.
it's just that it feels like everybody, and even ourselves now, we're going to be part of this ever-going last of lore saying, yeah, we'll take the Shadow Pokemons. We're not going to purify them because they do that damage anyways. So,
Or we just gonna throw them away. Like I mean, at first when the mechanic came out, I was purifying every Shadow Pokemon, and then I think when I started, going, man, where happened to my Stardust? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure you got the medal too, though.
yeah, I got the medal. I have the medal. I had the platinum medal, but wow, damn, that's our Stardust.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I'm doing I'll be doing sometime a mass purifying day when I get just enough to actually get to the medal, but that's gonna be only on 1,000 purify or 1,000 Stardust purified Pokemon. So I'm
Yeah.
keeping all the small ones, and then if it's not good IVs or good PvP IVs, then I'll just go ahead and trash them anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just like, oh, this is gonna be 100% if I purify it. Let's do this. Hey guys,
And that's-
should I purify this Shadow Mewtwo? No.
Oh god, I love
fine.
that meme when it comes down to it. But that's another benefit.
I'm not
That's-
memeing. I just serious. Like, should
No.
I purify this thing?
Yeah.
And you guys tell me no every time.
No.
And like, how about the Shadow Zapdos? I had this Shadow Zapdos. I maybe 100%. No. Oh, okay. Fine.
So, I
Fine,
mean,
Shadow.
as the technically named Pure Lighter here, and I want to literally listen this, I will not approve, in a parenthesis, I will not approve that you purify your Pokemons. But, I mean, we didn't really even talk about how purifying them gives you the better ABs. It's basically the bottle cap of this game.
That's the only good thing right now about
Yeah.
purifying. Pretty
And-
much, is just that it raises the IVs by 2.
And that's really good because technically that's the only way to raise the IVs because everything else is a stable, floor base.
I
power.
love my shinies, but it'd be nice that they were usable for something.
Correct. And,
So,
and
like,
trust me, and we have gotten moments where we get the
Yep.
Shadow Shiny and we're like, do I purify them to get a Shunda? Yes, no, maybe. I mean, it's kind of one of those things at the end of the day.
Look, if I get lucky enough to get a Shadow Shiny Mewtwo, and it's like a few points away from that 100%. I don't care what you guys say. I'm gonna purify that sucker because I don't have a Shundo. I don't have a single Shundo.
That's your ultimate goal.
But yeah,
I
Here's the
will
thing.
I
record.
understand.
I want you guys to record your screams so that I can have it on my phone every time I want to hear the agony of people crying that I got rid of. those first Pokemon.
I'll approve this message. Anyways.
the people screaming about it don't remember Mega Mewtwo. That's my whole thing.
I know, right? Yeah, there's still that going on because you can Mega both a Purified Pokemon but not a Shadow Pokemon. So.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, there's one thing that I wanted to say, and actually we covered this a little bit early in the podcast, is that the floor IB for Shadow Raids so far has been at 666, not the usual 10-10-10.
Ooh.
So that might be a little bit harder to get you closer to Hondo, Purify, Mewtwo once they come out.
They lower the floor?
They lower the floor for shadow rates, yes.
Okay. Makes sense.
Most of the raids usually have a 10-10-10 floor, and that's the bare minimum you can get on a raid boss. But
that makes sense.
But now they're actually lowering it, which I believe it was a little too much. A 666 floor seems a little too scuffed, but at least it's not a 0. So,
yeah,
that's gonna be a hard Shundo hunt. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that is, and I think I agree with you. Like maybe they should have done 888 instead, so that way if you purify it, you get that
11
floor.
12. Yeah, so that floor will at least be a little bit higher when it comes down to it. But yeah, no, I can at least understand the aspect of hunting, because that's going basically what's gonna be more enticing than anything else. Although we may not do as many raids, but the Shadow Shards and the Purified Gem is going to also be enticing, since there's gonna be dropping out of anything and more from raids than the actual grunts anyway. So
makes sense. Will you trust a grunt with a gem? No, they're probably gonna sell it to somebody for cash.
All right, well. I
do have one suggestion about purifying it though.
Yes.
Now, in the train card game, in the Gen 2 train card game, they had dark Pokemon. They had like dark Raichu and things like that. They also had light Pokemon as well.
Yep.
And the dark and light Pokemon sounds like equivalent to Shadow and Purify. Now, the dark Pokemon, they did more damage, just like Shadows, but it had less HP. So like you had this Charizard that had like AHP, which is like pretty low compared to the base set Charizard 120. So, but the light Pokemon had more HP. So like Azumarill had like 100 HP, which is like, wow, that's a lot of HP back then for a trading card game. For trading card.
Yeah.
So would it be even or uneven balance to just give them more HP? Give Purified Pokemon more HP.
Really, the HP really doesn't play a lot of factor. It's more the AVs. And yes, I mean, if it's like attack tier Pokemon like Chansey or something like that, then it makes sense to have more HP, of course. But I think that the best way to really go about it, and the same way that the TCG was doing it, it's really capping it at a certain CP or upping it to a CP, because a shadow Pokemon Hondo is the same as the same CP as a regular Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and the same as a Purified one. So maybe the CP really takes the factor into event if Purified Pokemon can get just a bit higher than your normal Pokemon or a shadow Pokemon in that regard. Yeah. So I think it's the play with words when it comes down to it, the mechanics in the end of the day.
Yeah, and like I said, I really do think like if you investing the time to purify, you should get something extra out of it, a tiny bit extra out of it.
Yeah, no, and I understand.
And that's the thing that's what came up to me, and now I just realized in this conversation I had, like you investing the Stardust, you investing the candy into it. I mean, it makes the basic Pokemon like Absol worth getting candy for. Like, why am I catching Absols? Just to get a shiny? Okay, I have the shiny now, but am I going to defeat it? It's not like a great Pokemon.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things in the end of the day. And, just like in the regular VG games and all that, it's that not all Pokemons are going to be insanely powerful, no matter how much you look at it. Pokemon Go literally just evens out the playing field, just because in PvP Great League, at least you actually have more options instead of like the simplest ones. And, Little Cup and all that stuff are also implemented, but it's just, every Pokemon cannot be the same, and just bringing it to the same level, to level 50 and all that stuff, and never really, I don't think it's seed fit, but if it happens, cool, it will happen, so. But with that being said, Mikey, thank you so much again for joining us. We are going to continue on with the podcast. We have a little bit more news to cover on today's podcast, and we are running almost close to 2 hours now, so that's going to be
sorry about that.
It's okay. I do want to ask if you want to stay for the last bits. We are going to be going for a little bit longer, but I know you're a busy man, so I think if you're okay, you want to, if you want to go, that's fine.
Stay a bit longer. I got nothing better to do. I think my article for tomorrow is done. If not, then I'll just be like, quiet a bit and double checking and do a little bit of typing on the side.
All right, perfect. All right, my pleasure too. So, so you say you want to stay, or?
I stay.
Okay, cool. So before we actually end off to you, and then of course you plug in everything, we're just gonna continue on with a little bit of news here, and then what's been happening. So we completed what talked about the shadow raids. We are going to now talk about the event that's happening as of tomorrow, the Rising Shadows event. This is happening tomorrow, Monday, the 22 at 10 a.m., which actually became a little bit early in the other parts of the world, so everybody's a little surprised. Even though there haven't been any issues reported as of yet, so that's actually good. That means that the game is actually functioning as it should be. So shadows
Great
are
news, you ain't not going to complain.
not yet, but we'll see. So shadows are rising. Tingle Rocket has grown audacious to discover how to leave shadow Pokemon in gyms. We already talked about this, so we all know what to call. On Monday, May 22nd, we already know that's gonna happen. The shadow raid debuts are happening. Shadow Mewtwo. You'll be able to, for the first time ever in Pokemon Go, encounter shiny Shadow Mewtwo if you're lucky. And they always have to word it if you're lucky. Shadow Mewtwo will appear in 5-star raids from Saturday, May 27 at 10 a.m. to Sunday, May 28 at 8 p.m. local time. The ability to get Shadow Shiny Mewtwo is a thing. It looks like and sounds like it's going to be the same as a regular 5-star raid when it comes down to it, because it's just going to appear randomly on the map, just like any other raid. So it's basically we're going to have to scout hard and far between to actually look for them. But we won't actually get the introduction of Shadow Shiny Mewtwo or Shiny Shadow Mewtwo until the weekend off. So then we also have Shadow Raids in 1 stars and 3 stars. Shadow Raids will actually start appearing as of Monday, so that's tomorrow. The 1 stars, we have Shadow Poliwag, Shadow Matchup, Shadow Bellsprout, and Shadow Beldum. 3 out of the 4 can be shiny. Bellsprout being the lowest of them all. However, Bellsprout does have some viability in PvP, so it's possible to really get a good one if you're looking for. Since a lot of people don't really realize you can get Shadow Bellsprout from regular grunts. It's just that you got to do it when you have a rocket or a Super Rocket Radar from Giovanni. So it's getting the decoys when it comes down to it. So it's actually good.
You know, I just thought about it. Because of the floor, it's going to be a lot harder to get a PvP Shadow Pokemon from raids now.
Oh yeah, definitely. 3-star raids will have Shadow Bailey, Shadow Kulawa, Shadow Crognut, and Shadow Sneasel. Sneasel being the only shiny out of those pools. However, if you do a little bit of lore, Pokemon Coliseum started you out with Shadow, either one of the Bailey, Kulawa, or Crognuts, the very first roundabout. So it was technically the very first Shadow Pokemon you catch in the game. So this is technically the homage lore-wise to this. So that's actually pretty cool. However, those will only be part of the event. They will be spawning in Shadow gyms, or I guess Rocket gyms, I should call it now. But we will also have a raid update to when this is happening. So regular raids are happening. 1-star raids will be Clefairy, Tentacool, Meryl, Scrub, and Popplio. 3-star raids will have Magnetor, Lapras, Magwell, and Polion. I believe this is the same pool as the season of Rising Heroes that is happening for the entire season, so that's actually interesting. 5-star raids, we do have Tapu Fini until Tuesday. Wednesday, I believe Regigigas is coming. So Wednesday, May 24 is when Regigigas comes back into race, and a shiny can be available. And this is the one that Chris wants the most. Mega Pinsir will be leaving on the 24th. Mega Altaria is happening as of Wednesday, May 24 at 10 a.m. And that's because he still needs that energy to Mega Evolve his very first Altaria. He never got it enough, and he hasn't actually had the chance until now. So
25 energy from one quest. That's all I got.
Okay. Hey, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, he'll definitely do it, even if he has to spend more money on remote race. I know, trust me that much.
Dude, I'm remoting it. I'm remoting it for sure, man.
Just get that car sniper for your phone and just sweet.
Pre-ordered, yeah.
Wild spawns will also be part of the event, and of course, they're more of a Team Go Rocket takeover when it comes down to it. So Ekans, Golbat, Coffin, Houndour, Pushian, Stunky, and Scorpy will be spawning the wilds, and if you're lucky, you can encounter things like Hisuian Quillfish and Scraggy.
Why is it Golbat instead of Zubat?
I know, right?
That's my only complaint.
I don't know either.
They want to make you suffer. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
They said, how can we make Chris suffer the most?
He wants that shiny? Too bad.
That happens all the time. Event bonuses with the Tingle Rocket will appear more frequently in stops and balloons. That means that it's double from what we already have from the season. That's crazy. Field research tasks will focus on more Tingle Rockets, and catching Pokemon will be available. Tournaments can earn mysterious components and Stardust as rewards. And then, of course, we did talk about the special research, the Let's Go research to obtain the Master Ball, and a new avatar pose, which literally looks like you are Mewtwo with the Rising Hero pose. It looks like just Mewtwo like going like that. So
Yeah, I noticed
Looks like
that
an
in
ankle
the
workout.
yeah.
I noticed that in the promotional material that they used. I go, why am I supposed to be Mewtwo? That's cool, but okay.
Just give us the pants with the tail, and that's all we need. That would be hilarious. Anyways, but yeah, so that's the Rising Shadow event. It's technically hyped mostly because Shadow raids are happening as part of this event. We don't know if this is going to be the first iteration or the continuance of it. Maybe a Tingle Rocket takeover will actually acquire more Shadow raids. But we're still kind of wary of some of the details. We won't know technically until the end of the season when everything is over. If Shadow raids and Shadow Pokemons in raids are going to be a continuous event moving forward. So, excited? I am.
Very.
It makes me excited for raids now because, like I said, I mean, we can't remote in, so that means I gotta go in. I do need a shine. I do want more shiny Beldums. So if I could raid farm for Beldums for shinies, that'd be great.
And I believe the shiny odds on the raids for those are the same as the regular raids. So 1 in 69 for the normal Pokemons in 1 star and 3 stars, and 1 in 20 for Shadow Legendaries.
So that sounds great. Also, if I see one, if I could drive and just like park in the parking lot and just like, okay, just do this really quickly. Okay,
Yeah.
great. I did see some people like wondering what do the shards do. Like they seem. When I read it, and it sounds like there's an idea there.
Yes. So
how will you implement the idea?
So we have a confirmation now that because of Australia and the Shadow Shards will convert into the Purified gem, which you'll be able to use in raids to seduce or not seduce.
Hey guys, you want to say
I know, right?
are you?
Basically, lower the attack and defense of the Shadow Raid Pokemon from using that. You can stack it from multiple trainers, so a lot of people can actually put it in there. And then the Pokemon itself will technically be easier to take down in that regard. We still don't know if the legendaries are going to be as hard as it should be, but we can start looking out for the Shadow Shards in the end of the day. It does only take 4 Shadow Shards to get 1 Purified Gem. And then that will actually be helpful because we don't actually have to go through 6 runs or 6 raids to do all the things like we used to for the components. So that's basically when it comes down to it. But yeah, so moving on, and I understand because again I'm trying to just get this last few minutes about.
One thing I do want to say though,
yeah.
One thing I do want to say, why ended Saturday? It's not a full week.
It's rough.
I was yeah. When the first news came out, like me and my friends were just talking. Like, oh yeah, let's go and do these shadow raids. Great, yeah. We got Pokemon League on Sunday. Before we go to League, let's go do let's go see some shadows. And then it turns out no, it ends Saturday, bro.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That sucks.
Like I said, it's also I believe it's also like testing the waters. We want to make sure that they work correctly. So it may be that they don't want us to have chances like or be in the rotation of regular raids because we know the regular legendary 5-star raids are supposed to be a thing. So I can see it only happening in certain times or certain parts of the events.
Now this is weird too. It sounds weird. Can you TM frustration during this event?
No, that's
That's interesting.
That's gonna be another takeover, yeah.
I consider this as a unique twist on the Rocket takeovers.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it, yeah, but it's more like just new feature and then just start, keeping them for that reason. So
I wonder if they're gonna alternate between two. Like this is gonna be a Rocket event, but it's not gonna be a
maybe they will implementing.
I like that.
They're implement the shadow raids more, or at least more prevalent to see legendary shadow raids during takeovers from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
So that is helpful. Now a lot of people are also saying that they might be able to advance their Giovanni medal. Because Giovanni is technically the one that you're gonna be facing during the shadow raids. I don't know if that's gonna count as for the medal, because a lot of people are saying that it's gonna take forever to really get to the end of that medal, and I think.
Giovanni had every single Mewtwo raid.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So the Giovanni medal, where is it? There it is. It's the Ultra Hero. You need 20 for just silver. No, I'm sorry. You need 20 for gold, and you need 50 for for platinum. So
I'm gonna look at mine so now, but
it looks
10 more years.
I know I have
Yeah.
not fought. I don't think I fought Giovanni that many times.
I have fought at 19, and I think I missed one. So you should be able to have already 20 on that.
I should.
I'm at
Yeah.
17.
You haven't
Okay,
got all
so-
the
I've been
shadow
slacking.
legendaries. So yeah.
So I can see that. I can see that being in there, and you know what? If we talk about the game being stale, the rocket events upon retrospect have gotten stale. It was like, when do I have a takeover event? I need a TM off frustration on my.
I feel like the
Arcuno.
summer is going to be the bigger test thereafter. I feel like the summer is going to give us more of this shadow race when it comes down to it, but it's not going to be it. I don't think Niantic wants to have shadow race as the only thing spawning, because I know that all the gyms actually. I mean, all the other gyms will spawn in regular raids.
And they made a good note on that too.
Right.
In write-ups.
Right. It may still stay, but be as uncommon as regular Tingle Rocket takeovers when it comes down to it, because Tingle Rocket still appears in the map. And I know it's been appearing more because of the Rising Heroes event or the season, but that doesn't mean that it will go away regardless. So it's going to be one of those things. Anyways, moving on. If you have any more questions, just let me know and we'll answer this in a second. So the last bit of news, aside from one last thing in our PvP section, we're just going to cover that real quickly, is Niantic's semi-response to the Heroes Niantic movement. This was an article that was posted right after Shadow Rays were dropped. Basically states that talking about with a few of the Niantic employees, they go about it. Let me just make sure who they're
so pretty
talking.
much-
So they
Pretty much
talk
I get a
to
hint on this. Yeah.
correct. So Pokemon Go director Michael Starank and senior producer John Fontanilli. Yeah, sorry for butchering that. Talked to a couple of reporters both in IGN and that esports, sorry, and the response were something similar to this. Basically, it was a hard decision. We understand. It's hard to ignore the outcry of the community, and they read everything and anything that they could, And it feels like, as the rest of this year, we really feel like actions will speak louder than words. Now, they've been working really hard as a development team to put together a huge slate of new features that players will hope to enjoy over the course of this year. So personally speaking, I'm pretty sure I used to do more remote raids than 90% of your readers. So again, there's a quote from them saying that even they were really beneficial when it comes down to remote raids. But it's still a decision that said it was a very, very painful decision for everybody to make, everybody in Niantic. It's one of the things that people enjoy no matter what. But again, it sort of became, it says right here, and quote, and I can honestly say, even for more personally, it became of an unhealthy way to engage with the game. I would sort of just throw money at Pokecoins so that I can spam legendary rays as much as possible. End quote. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the ability to do remote raids, and yes, the flexibility and the part of the community that then we don't want the online community to disappear globally when it comes down to it. However, it was just such an unhealthy way to play the game. Even myself included, were really, really addicted to the point where I'm just like spending hundreds of dollars into the game, just put it out there, doing as many races as I can, especially for something that I wanted for a Hondo for, and it just didn't seem right. I mean, I literally can count how many shiny Dialgas I have from the 500 extra large candy that I have after I rated so much. So, and that's me being a casual hardcore. And imagine the people that literally play every day, like Fleasking. They're literally being like spend and throw money at the game like it was no tomorrow at this point. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of makes sense the reason why they needed to. Now, they did say it's not a full-on response to the Heroes Niantic movement. I don't know if they're actually going to ever really acknowledge it when it comes down to it. They kind of did. It's kind of semi-acknowledgement. But it's a response that a lot of people were expecting. Some people were happy, and of course the mod of their Twitter is still out there saying, you did not listen to us no matter how much you try. It's like, because they did listen, it's just they're sticking to their guns when it comes down to it. So I wanted to throw it back there. That article showed up, and I know a lot of people talked about it. So it's just one of those things. In the end of the day, any thoughts?
I mean, you want to go first, Chris?
You can go first.
I mean, he brought up some good points. We just some people just went straight remote raids, and now they have like hundreds of SUMs, and is SUM special anymore? No.
It feels like the thrill of the hunt wasn't there anymore.
Exactly.
Because
and
it was just as comfortable as sitting at home and just do them at any point.
Yeah. And as much as that, they're flexible. We want that, but one of the things I mentioned before, we were mentioning time before, is really flexible, but at the same time, is it too flexible? Is it
right?
Is it? Are we actually going out there catching Pokemon? It's those core values that they keep on mentioning since the pandemic. Core values. Go out there, explore. Go out there, exercise. Go walk around. Get out of your house. Meet some new people or meet people in general. It's those core values, and you gotta respect them for sticking to those guns. Like they really do want us to go out there, and if they could, they would send an active employee to our house right now, knock on the door, and say, "Hey, Reese, it's time to go outside." No, don't take me outside. They're going to drag you out there because they also brought the bouncer too.
Yeah.
And you're going out there and play.
Yep. I agree 100% when it comes down to Chris. Any more thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm just glad they ripped off the Band-Aid. I think they ripped off a little bit of skin with it, but
definitely some blood come out. That's for sure.
Yeah, so. I do think like we knew it was coming for a while. I mean, we said since the beginning. You can check in the podcast. We said at the beginning it was not supposed to be a permanent change. I think people got really used to it, us included.
And I keep thinking, I keep thinking a lot of like, what would have happened for the future of this game if COVID was never a thing? You know, like how we would envision this world or the way that we are. How would it continue normally that it was from way before the COVID started? Like,
because they said they were going to put it in, but they said like they had plans that it was going to do less damage and everything. So I'm really curious what they would have done back then. Like, would it have had a limit and everything? Or
I mean, the bonus is still there if you think about it. Even in every season, the boosted damage for trainers battling in raids remotely. So
I wonder if they ever going to put that. I guess at this point, are they going to take away that bonus? Are going to take that?
I feel like if they're going to take that bonus away, they have to balance it out. Like
if it costs more money and you do less damage,
then yeah, I feel
not just them just killing remote raids. Period. I mean,
and that's and this is two.
Give it from Heroes of Night 3.
Yeah. So this is 2 coins that we're gonna open up here. One of them is being if they're going to be doing the changes that they are saying in the seasons, like the less damage and everything, that they have to balance out things. However, remember, if remote raids were not a thing, that's the second coin. If they would have introduced them later in the span of Pokemon Go, how well and how limited it would have been to actually do it to this point. So, yes, the biggest Band-Aid was ripped off the moment they made the changes. They raised the prices and all of that stuff. Now it's just slowly turning that change and then phasing out remote raids as much as possible. It's not that it's going to go away. It may not ever go away. We don't know that yet. However, Niantic is simply trying to even out the playing field to make sure that remote race is not the biggest thing in Pokemon Go anymore. And that's what I really want people to see. That I mean, even if it is raids, it's not the only thing that you can do in Pokemon Go. Catch Pokemons, go out, play the game, please.
Or just be like me on Saturday at day when I don't feel like leaving my house. I just open a game. Feed my buddies some food, catch, and I stay up until midnight on Friday night so I could go get my daily spin. Yeah, and there we go.
Yeah,
that's it.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing when it comes down to it. So,
because one thing I have noticed, Pokemon Go is really bad at balancing things out. Like it'd be not like did they really have raised the price? No, but they just did it anyways.
Yeah.
Had they done a really good job incentivizing us to go to in-person raids? Not so much. I mean, we saw the elite raids, and they were not. They didn't incentivize me to get a Reggie.
Yeah.
I mean, I have personal thoughts like the Reggie and Reggie Draco should have been regular raid bosses, but apparently they were special enough to be elite raid bosses.
They're definitely
Okay.
going to be part of the rotation eventually when Gen 8 is really fully released at this point. So,
Yeah, they were rough.
yeah. But yeah, no, and I get you. It's basically there needs to be a bigger incentive to really go out and play instead of just keeping it out there, or keeping the same changes with more incentivized to actually stay at home when it comes down to it. But
They may take away those bonuses as a last resort, like, oh, people are still doing remote raids?
Yeah.
Well, fine, we're just going to get rid of the bonus. And
definitely.
why remote raid now?
All right, so yeah, like I said, we can continue on again. I gotta finish up. Really, I feel like I need to finish this podcast. So let's get into PvP section. Get good, get wrecked. Here we go. Anyways, so very first thing that I actually want to mention, and this is something that has happening since the last podcast. Of course, when we talked about the last podcast, we did have the roots, the grassroots of Pokemon Go or PvP. Silt Arena is shutting down his doors once and for all at the end or the beginning of August, I believe. However, the community has not stayed in silence, and they are working together once again. All the big PvPers, DeFi 250, Spanish Chief, Go Battles, and whoever it is, Go Stadium, PvP Poke, every single one of them out there is starting a project. They just posted out an announcement recently, a few days ago. It says, in the wake of the news surrounding the Silt Road and the Silt Arena last Friday, many of our community members have been caught off guard, and ourselves included, uncertain around the viability and future grassroots tournaments and circuits, how the future could look, and how we reach that the future state has gripped all sections of our community. In the past week has been a busy one. Individuals and organizations across our communities has come together to discuss many of these concerns and work together to a unifying vision, a project by the community for the community. So their mission, and this is actually called Project Zygar, our mission in this, to develop a non-profit platform open to all grassroots competition, with in the initial focus on supporting the Show 6 Peak 3 Pokemon Go tournaments and team competitions. To organize and develop group sources and informed by the community, taking community feedback and needs into consideration when building out the platform, and then to exist within the community as a collective without a single owner, fostering an inclusive and diverse composition. To this end, we want this to be a comprehensive and collaborative effort, so any persons or community interested in working alongside us, please join us. Project collaboration currently on board. We do have all the names and more. There will be a part of Discord opening next week if you want to join up and say you want to be part of this project and itself. From small but well-organized beginnings, it will be Project Zygar. We don't know if that's going to be the full name at the end of the day. This is just the beginning of something new now that we Silt Road and Silt Arena will be going away soon. But this is for the community and the community out there. And it's really great to see that the PvP community really working together through the goal of keeping the PvP show alive after everything is going. I know the Silt Arena has been a amazing foundation. And we're going to build on that foundation. We're going to keep that spirit. We're going to keep on going. And then I'm sure that there's going to be out there that's really going to incentivize going out, playing with friends, and PvPing together in some way, shape, or form. So that's the news that we really have. I love that the community is working together to a bigger goal in the end of the day. So any thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, very happy. I know definitely a few names on here. A lot of very popular PvPers. Very happy to see King Duck's pull. He's actually on my faction group right now.
Nice.
So yeah, very excited for the future of Project Zygarde and whatever other projects might be happening for the future of Grassroots.
Yeah. And of course, this will be separate from the Play Pokemon events. I know the Play Pokemon could actually be integrated into a lot of different things, but this organization is mostly for the competitors out there, the passionate people that really play PvP, and really has been a passion since the day one of Silt Arena, because that's where we really got together. And I got to give it to Silt, because in the end of the day, I wouldn't even have met Chris, or wouldn't have actually gotten to this point with Chris if it wasn't for PvP. So And I'll keep saying it. Thank you so much, Silt, for everything you do. Your legacy will move on. We'll continue on passing the torch to the community out there, because there's always going to be the passion out there for PvP grassroots. So yeah, so that's that. We're gonna skip GBL. The only thing that I'm gonna mention that we're on the last 2 weeks of it. It is the Master League and the Element Cup, and then the next one will be Master League and the Catch Cup. So good luck with those. If you have done PvP or GBL at that point, trust me to say that I completely fall off from it. I haven't really done that much. But Master League is my baby, so I'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll do a couple battles here and there. And then Chris, any updates on your factions?
Yeah, we won the last bout of bout 9,
Nice.
11-10 versus 7 Deadly Simps. I love
names.
everyone's name.
Yeah.
Sadly, this is the last season of Sylph factions, but very happy with how we did. I actually saw a meme my captain made where it's like we got double relegated out of silver into bronze, and then we got double elevated out of bronze into silver again, and then we find out everyone's getting relegated technically.
Yeah, I
because it's
just saw
getting
that
ended.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
As soon as I heard about Sylph being shut down, going, oh no, we have fractions.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Everybody's screaming.
Yeah,
But,
they like
we did come fourth.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good ending to what we call it. I want to say top 5 is also really good. Top 3 would have been the enticing icing on the cake, but
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the team did. I mean,
you guys been improving. Every time I hear you guys mention factions, oh damn, he actually is getting better. Wow, I remember you were not that great. Sorry, no offense, Chris.
I don't blame you.
But this is great about the grassroots events. I mean, I will always be supporting to play Pokemon events. I kind of have to, because that's what I do most of the time. But I love the grassroots because it gives people a chance. Is an entry point. Is an other entry point to it. As much as we like to say the league challenges, that's the beginning points for TCG. The Purified challenges are the entry points for VGC. Those are nice and all, but if you're someone who's online a lot more than in person, this is another entry point where I'm hoping you could use to hone your skills and then say, you know what? I want to go to a regional. Florida, or not a regional, next weekend. I can still get a pass. I can still play that because I feel good in my self arena. Let me see if that translates to go play Pokemon.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. But then from there, you probably meet somebody say, "Yeah, I went to my local league in Daytona, Florida, and they do monthly Go tournaments there. You should go to that.
Yep.
I think you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's another way to interact with this game and with the franchise.
Yes, definitely. And it's something that, since we know that at least Pokemon Go is more of the show 6 pick 3 format, this is something that at least will be the good practice that's going to keep on going for that reason. So I love that at least once we actually establish that organization, that moment of the grassroots, it will be for everybody to always expand it. And, everybody, even though it may start small, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Mostly because it's still big, since a lot of the battles out there are going to be part of it, no matter how much you look at it. They want to be the very best. Mm-hmm. And nowhere near it was, but So, anyways, but yeah. So with that being said, Mikey, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna hand you off for one last thing. Plug away anywhere we can find you. Anything that you want to just shout out or anything, just take it away.
First, I'm gonna shout out PokemonCrossroads.com. You can find all my articles and all other writers that write for the site there. This week should be Podcast Central. Should be. I'm pretty sure I got enough podcast listening to do that column this week confidently. So that's going to come out on Thursday. If this comes out before Thursday, then I may just stick it in Spotlight anyways. Let's do it. Why not? I mean, promote you guys, and then why not?
Give me a day. I'll probably get it by Tuesday.
If you get it by Tuesday, I can say that's good. Me being on a podcast for most of it should be good enough for me to say, yeah, I'm going to join the spotlight. Why not?
Perfect.
You can hear me talk and complain about the game we love and the game that we takes up too much battery life of my phone. But that's coming up. If they fix the raids for Scar and Vite, maybe I write about that. I'm hoping to, like I said, the goal is always get more fandom stuff out there. July is coming up, so July is going to be a big month for the website because we're going to have Pokemon Podcast Month in July again. Reese, you're going to get DM from me sometime this week or maybe right after this podcast is done.
Sure.
About the stuff that I need you and Chris to do for me. There's we doing a little bit extra here this year, make it bigger and better than last year.
Always.
So I really appreciate you to do what you need to do so that we can get the event bigger and better and much more regret for me in June. Because who's going to put these things together? Me. So I'm going to have fun next month.
You're welcome.
But thanks. Retweets are appreciated, and you know exactly what I'm going to ask you to retweet. Maybe get to that.
Definitely.
All right. So that would be great. If you want personal Mikey, if you want more Mikey with Crossroads, Ft.PKMNCrossroads is our Twitter account. I post all my articles there. I also post something interesting. Apparently this week, the whole what the heck do you do with Purified Pokemon was a big tweet this week. Not as much as my backspace tweet, but no, what? Fine, whatever. It's maybe the personal thing because I clearly don't know how to manage my backspace. But if you want personal Mikey, there is Mikey Zard. I am still Pokemon stuff there, but I also got anime. I also talk about anime. One Piece was a big chapter this week. I'm not sure if anybody read manga, but that's what I do sometimes. If you want more nerdy stuff, that's Mikey's art. Oh, I see your manga collection right there. But if you want some more general nerdy stuff, that's me right there.
There you go.
I also get political as well, but hey, whatever. That's what you get from the personal Twitter account.
Definitely.
You get all of it.
All
yes,
right.
sir.
So definitely, thank you. Again, thank you so much. Chris, anything else to add before we end the podcast?
I just want to thank Mikey very much. You sound like a huge community man, and I'm very happy to hear about all you do. I'm honestly, I'm very impressed with how much you do for the community. That is insane, man.
Thank you.
I do as much as I can online, and I also got a community in real life.
Perfect.
As much as I say I have some sort of form of social anxiety, I also just once you get to me,
don't worry. I'll push him to actually go to New York for this year.
Dude, even with that,
I can't do New York
like crazy.
I know. Don't worry.
Traveling to regionals was a lot this year.
Yeah.
I was trying to get staff for North America and national championships. I did not make it, unfortunately. I would love to go as a spectator or as a player, but I need to fill the war chest for next season regionals because that was fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and I need to do that. I need to do more regionals just because it makes me a better judge. It makes me a better professor. It makes my community better as well.
Wonderful. All right. With that being said, thank you so much for everybody being in the podcast, for always listening to us here on the live stream. If you can check us out anywhere in the podcast services feed, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, many of those places, if you can leave us a review, we would really, greatly appreciate it. Follow our social media. I know that Mikey already said his, but ourselves, Purified Podcast, Twitter, Pure Lighter Go for myself, and then PKMN Trigger Please with a C at the end for Chris. Email us anything cool for that. You can also, of course, send us tweets on Twitter. purifiedpodcast@gmail.com. Join our Discord if you really do want to, show us anything. It's free for anybody to go out there. And don't forget to check us out at thepurifiedpodcast.com, the Professor Network. Once again, Mikey, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the time and all the things that you do. And then Chris,
thank you so much.
Once again, take us away for the night.
All right. I hope everyone is excited for the future of Pokemon Go. We're finally getting some really crazy raids. You get to raid all these shadows, and even raiding Shadow Legends. Oh my god!
It had to be done.
I'll catch you guys next week, where hopefully we can talk about how fun Shadow Mewtwo was to raid. See you guys then. Peace out.
Keep purifying them, everybody, and we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.